get into what we need to get into. All right, so we got my husband going across the street to get a special bottle of wine because we got a special guest in a wine cellar. I got somebody like you. Like it is. I was just like, she does not. You haven't done interviews in so long, and when you do interviews, it's not. It's like I'm like there's so much that people could be talking to you about, and they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and I just told you before the interview started that you walked so I could run.
Yeah.
Like real talk. Because people compare me to Wendy and I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Liz Crokin.
Oh, that's so sweet. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. And like I said, shout out to Angela Staton.
Yes.
Okay. Angela Staton did put together this interview.
Yeah.
She said you do not do interviews really with anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she dropped my name. I'm glad that you did your research on me and that you're here today. And I'm telling you, the winos are going to show mad love to you. You have no idea.
I
Okay.
appreciate that. Well,
So-
I'm happy to be here. So
And we're gonna get some wine for her. We're gonna do it nice. Now listen, not like you have been doing what I do legally because I'm not even certified like to do. I'm a news personality,
right.
Comedian, all that stuff. But you are an actual journalist,
Right.
You've been in Hollywood's ass,
Yeah.
for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
When I tell you, there's no stone that hasn't been uncovered by you.
Right.
And I've learned so much about you just in the last few minutes of talking to you because there's a lot of stuff on the internet that I cannot find. Like I'm talking to you about my legal battles that I go through with Hollywood, with Hollywood's elite. And you have surprisingly gone through the same thing. You said they have tried to destroy your life when you were working for columns like US Weekly, Star
Us
Magazine,
Weekly, yeah.
Us
Star,
Weekly.
yeah.
I always say US Weekly.
Most people do. Most people still have no idea. Even people that work for Us Weekly still call it
US Weekly, Star
it's
Magazine, National Enquirer,
Yeah.
the Chicago Tribune. You were the gossip column that people read every day,
Right.
or heard from. Okay, everybody called you when they needed tips or they needed to get
Right.
to certain sources. And I'm gonna name drop just a little bit just to kind of get them in,
Right.
to this interview and what this is gonna be about. But like, you just caused a stir on the internet surrounding Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You were the last journalist that Kathy White, his alleged mistress, spoke to and was gonna do a tell-all to before
Possibly. She
Okay.
hadn't fully committed yet, but she was considering it. And she implied that she was strongly considering it when we last talked on the phone.
Okay, a very healthy, athletic woman.
Yes.
Okay, she was a business owner. She ran like a PR firm. She was college educated.
Right.
So she wasn't like some type of jump off. Like she was an educated. Was she black? Blasian? What do you call it?
I'm
Asian
not
black?
sure if she was a mix or I'm not sure.
Okay. She was beautiful. She was very beautiful,
Yeah.
but she was the alleged mistress, and I have to say alleged because I wasn't there, to Jay-Z. And then, I covered the story recently here because I got into it with one of her, I guess, alleged best friends, Claudia Jordan, who has since denied knowing Kathy White. But, oh my God, listen.
Wait.
Listen.
Wait.
Claudia came for my neck. Claudia Jordan.
Today, now she's denying that she ever
She's
knew
saying
her?
she's only met her a handful of times, but they were not best friends. They happened to be in the same place, but they weren't close at all. Now, let me tell you, I had dinner with Claudia Jordan and her friends, okay? I didn't even ask Claudia about this information. She said I was best friends with Jay-Z's alleged mistress. She just said it. I'm like, I had I'm meeting her for the first time. Yes, we've had conversations back and forth through the DM and on the phone, but coming to a dinner with somebody and you just tell somebody like a Tasha K that information, what the f*** you doing? You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't come out and just spill it, but it was when when the Diddy allegations resurfaced, now they're in stone.
Right.
They're in stone. The feds are definitely looking into bringing a case against Diddy. All this you spoke of,
Right.
Now you said, hey, listen, it's not just Diddy, it's Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You brought up Kathy White again.
Right.
Claudia Jordan and Kathy White speaking to you saying that she was friends with Claudia Jordan. Claudia's, I'm like, why are you coming from my neck? It's Liz online.
So are you saying that she initially said that she was good friends with her and now she's
She
backpedaling
was
it?
associates, but they weren't that close, is what Claudia is saying. I've only met her a handful of times. We weren't friends like that. Less than a year. I think she said 9 months.
Okay. Sure. Whatever. I mean,
Listen.
I wasn't investigating her friendship with Claudia Jordan, and I've never met Claudia. But from what I've heard, going back years, like they were pretty good friends. So
they're in pictures
I'm not really
together.
sure what's going on there. But
yeah, they're in pictures. Okay. It's called disassociation.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like pictures of her sitting on Diddy's lap, but she's out online calling Diddy out for the things that he did. It's like, what are you doing sitting on Diddy's lap?
Yeah.
If you knew all of this stuff and all of these people that were around Diddy was your friend, why are you sitting on Diddy's lap?
Right.
You know? And so she has decided to, I'm not friends with Tasha. We were never friends. Stop it. You know, we had conversations back and forth as media personalities. Like, you don't have a degree in this. You didn't go to school for journalism. You don't get, you don't do the thorough research like a real journalist does, like you do.
She said that to you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God. Like, you have no idea. Like,
that's very interesting.
Yes.
That sounds like gaslighting to me. But okay.
It's gaslighting. I call it the mistress magnet because she seems to only attract mistresses. Because Gary Owen's wife came out and said that, she was best friends with Gary Owen's mistress. And then her best friend, Sabrina Hutton, was just outed online for taking somebody's husband. And I met that best friend that night at dinner. And I had no idea that she was going to be in the middle of a scandal so big. And then, of course, the Kathy White link. Okay. So, we got a special.
Well, what I will say, though, is that I don't know specifically about her or Kathy, but what I do know is that a lot of these women that do go to these parties with big celebrities, they work in rings, and a lot of them get paid to attend these parties. A lot of them are escorts. A lot of them are kept. A lot of them, they have their sugar daddies that buy condos for them. So there's a community of these girls that, are paid to go to these parties.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with you because I've spoken to a few of them. And I have one that's gonna come and she's gonna sit down later this week. But she was at a Diddy party here recently, and she does allege that her drink was drugged. I mean, was laced. She was like, I drink all the time. I'm a party girl. But to get that wasted off of one drink and I can't go home. She was like, anything could have happened to me, So she said that was her first and last Diddy party. Yeah. But that's just a portion. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's kind of what gave me the be like, I need to talk to Liz, and I hit. Yeah. Angie was like, I know her, and I was like, please get her here. You know what I'm saying? And she said, like I said, she said you don't f- with a lot of people, but like I said, you were and still are a journalist that has covered these stories. You're not someone that just says, oh, it's gossip, but without doing your research. Right. You were speaking to a lot of people that were connected to these circles and even in these circles to write the stories that you wrote to even to the point where they have pushed you out of the media because they want to they wanted and intentionally wanted to silence you for the things that you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Liz Crokin, welcome to the Wine Cellar. That was a hell of an intro, wasn't it?
That intro, I need a glass of wine.
I know we got the Don Paula Estate Malbec. Okay, this is in Argentina. How's that?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Let me let
I've
you
had
taste.
that bottle before.
Oh God, I'm about to break it. Look, let me let you taste it. It looks
Thank
really
you.
good. I love the color.
It does look good.
Yeah, tell me what you think. Yes.
That's good.
It's very good. All right, let me go ahead and top you off. We just popped the bottle for you.
All right.
She, interesting enough, said, because, we are winos, you don't drink wines from California.
No.
Why is that? Tell them.
Well, I realized that after I was drink wine from California, I would always feel sick the next day. I would have a bad hangover. I'd have a headache. And so I started researching, and I found that they put Roundup in a lot of the, in the vineyards, they use Roundup, and Roundup is a chemical that causes all kinds of health problems, including cancer. And so I just stopped drinking California wine after that. And I try to only drink South American wine or wine from Europe because they tend to not have as much, not only like chemicals in the wine, but just additives and stuff like that. And I just find that you just don't get sick the next day. You don't get a hangover. You don't get a headache. But, and every once in a blue moon, someone will be like, oh, no, just try this bottle of wine from California, And I'll have a couple glasses and, sure enough, the next morning I feel awful. So
even if they are organic wines, the Roundup is still in the soil.
Well, so that's the thing.
It's hard to get it out.
Right. Yeah. So that's the thing. When they put a chemical like Roundup in the soil, if you have an organic vineyard, the chemicals can blow over. I mean, if anyone that's been in California knows how windy it gets there. So so they actually did testing on the organic wines from California, and they still found that Roundup is in those wines, even though they don't put it in the soil for those vineyards. So even the organic wine, even if they, go out of their way to try to make it, not to have these chemicals in them, they still find them.
And that's why I do New Zealand wines.
Yeah.
They have the cleanest vineyards. They don't even wear shoes on their vineyard.
Oh, wow.
To go and harvest. They don't wear shoes. You're not allowed to. So that's how clean they keep their soil. You can taste it in the wine. I got my husband fucked up.
I hope their feet are clean.
They are. They haven't put plastic over. But I remember my husband was like, you always drinking them, what do you call them? Old lady wines. You know what I'm saying? The Sauvignon Blancs and stuff, the ones that you drink during the day at the bar, you know? And I'm like, okay, you talking shit. So I gave him, a half a glass of Kim Crawford. It was a very basic one. He was like, this wine is hitting like shit. He didn't wake up with no headache. He wasn't tired. He could go to work. He was fucked up, but he could still go to work, So cheers. Welcome again to the Wise Elements List. And your last name is Crokin. Crokin. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay. People always...
Just like you said, us weekly.
I mean, after this bottle of wine, it may be Crokin.
So, Miss Liz, tell us how you got into journalism.
Well, I always was a truth seeker, even as a child. I hated liars, and I whenever I had friends that would lie to me, I would always go on my way to figure out if they were lying to me. I would be like secretly recording my friends if I knew they were lying to me, and then bust them in a lie. Yeah. I did that as a child, just like naturally I had that like truth seeker in me, and I was always interested in stories and the unknown. And so I was always at the library checking out books. And so I just had this passion for just seeking truth and learning. And I always wanted to be a reporter. And so in high school, I did a senior project that enabled me to get an internship at Fox News Chicago. So I was 16 or 17 years old when I got essentially my first news job. And so I worked as an intern at Fox News Chicago, but I was doing journalism. I was doing reporting. I was doing news packages. I was doing, a ton of journalism even back then as a teenager. So then I went to college.
That's pretty dope to get an internship like that at 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a dream come true. Yeah. I got very lucky. And so I did that. And then I went to the University of Iowa. I got a degree in journalism and political science. And I did many more news internships.
State that again, because people try to call you like a self-proclaimed journalist.
So the mainstream media, once I started exposing too much truth, specifically about elite rings, that's when the media attacks started. And they love to call me a so-called journalist or self-proclaimed journalist, conspiracy theorist. I don't even mind conspiracy theorists as much as so-called journalists or self-proclaimed journalists, because I literally worked in mainstream media for 2 decades, and I have a degree in journalism. And as I said, I got my first news job when I was 16 or 17 years old. And so for them to write that in an article, that discredits them immediately, because they're lying about my extensive journalism background. Now, they can disagree with the content of what I'm reporting, but at least be honest about who I am. But they don't do that because they don't want to do anything that lends me any credibility, because at the end of the day, they know what I'm reporting is the truth. And if it wasn't the truth, they wouldn't be bothered by me. They wouldn't care about me. They would just think that I'm some, quote unquote crazy conspiracy theorist, and they wouldn't give me the time of day. But that's not what they do.
Preach, Miss Liz, please. Please preach. Please.
So, so I did all these internships while I was in college. One was with Bill O'Reilly at Fox News Channel. I learned so much just from him. I would stay late every single night to watch his show just to learn from him, because back then I felt that he was the best journalist there was out there. And so I wanted
Bill was pretty big now.
Would you say?
I said Bill was pretty big. Yeah,
he had the number one show for years, and I learned so much from that experience, and I was just a sponge. I wanted to absorb everything and just learned, how he reported the news and how he did his research and connected dots, and so I did that, and then I graduated from college, and I got an internship working in the White House, but I was working for the State Department's White House correspondent. So back then, the State Department had a news agency, which I don't think they still have. And they had a reporter at the White House, Homeland Security, the Department of Justice. And like each reporter would be the official, reporter for that division of the government or whatnot. And
I remember when they used to do that.
Right. Yeah. And their job was supposed to be just to attend briefings and press conferences and just write stories that were verbatim what happened. There was supposed to be no spin, no narrative, no opinion, just the basic facts of what happened at the press conference or the event or whatnot. So when I interned for the White House correspondent for the State Department, she was over it. She's like, oh God, I don't want to go back to the White House. And I'm like, I'll go. And so I got to go to the White House every single day. And so I got to sit in the White House every day and sit through the White House briefings and, meetings I snuck into a meeting in the Oval Office. I wasn't supposed to be in the Oval Office, but I snuck in. Yeah. Not easy to do.
I would have done that shit too.
I only managed to sneak the Oval Office one time.
Did they catch you?
Who caught me? Vice President Cheney. It was President George W. Bush. Yeah. So when I first started the internship, it was so Bill Clinton was transitioning out office.
Okay. Oh shit! Did you
cover
the semen on the dress?
Well, that was what was so fun about it, is because when I got there, the White House press corps stays the same throughout the administration, and so everyone had all these stories about what a perv he was, and his just predatory behavior, and so when I got in there,
Bill Clinton was fine. So I could see him being like a ladies' man.
Oh yeah, they would just tell me stories about how whenever he would come in the press room, he'd always focus on the hottest girl in the room and give her the eye and give her looks and It was the same thing every day. So they told me all these stories.
So what did he see in Hillary?
What did he see? I'm like, do we want to go down this rabbit hole?
Yes.
Let's see. Do you really think that they are in love with each other?
Absolutely not. That is a business arrangement.
Exactly. So that's what he saw. But I don't think he really understood what he was getting himself into when he married her.
Oh, we're gonna swing back. We're gonna spin the block on that. But go ahead.
But working for the White House. I don't think she was ever really bothered by what he did because it was a business arrangement. So if her husband's cheating on her, having affairs, and sexually assaulting women, then why does she care? It's a business arrangement, and her goal was always to get to the White House herself. And one of the best ways to do that was through another president and marrying one, right? But we can get back to that. So when I got into the White House, so they were transitioning out, and George W. and Cheney were transitioning in, and so I went to events in the White House, and there was only one day that I was able to sneak into the Oval Office. Now, when they do an event in the Oval Office, it's so small in there, they can't fit all of the pool reporters or all of the White House reporters.
Okay.
So they send a pool. So they'll take, the ABC's camera person and then CNN's, reporter, and they'll take a handful of people because not everyone can fit in there. And so, one day when I think it was towards the end of my internship, I was like, I haven't been in the Oval Office. I'm just going to kind of mosey on in with the pool and see if I get kicked out.
And Vice President Cheney.
Yeah. And so I was like, and I got away with it almost the whole time. And then when I was walking out, Vice President Cheney was like, I know you. And I was like, oh no, what I do? He's got me busted. And so I thought he was going to scold me for sneaking into the Oval Office, knowing that I shouldn't have been in there. But instead, he said that he recognized me. And I'm sitting here thinking, what the heck? What does he recognize me from? Because I hadn't seen him once in the White House my entire internship. Because, obviously he doesn't live there. Yeah. But, and he didn't go there that often, at least when I was there. And I'm like, oh, you recognize me? Like, what is he talking about? And I was just kind of like, huh? And he's like, yeah, I recognize you. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, when I was in the hospital, they had me watch tapes of my speech from the Republican National Convention. And he's like, that camera focused more on you than me.
Oh, he was focused on you.
There was a cameraman from one of the networks, because every network aired it, I believe, back then. But there was one network where the cameraman, I was in the front row, the cameraman kept panning over to me. And so apparently he was watching that tape, and so he recognized me from just sitting in the front row at his speech at the Republican National Convention. So that was kind of funny. Anyway, so we talked a little bit, and then the Secret Service, tried to scoop me out of there. But so I got a great experience, living in DC and being able to go to the White House every single day. Then eventually I moved back to Chicago, where I'm from, and I started working for the Chicago Tribune's City News as a reporter, which they do the local breaking news, which is just, hard news. So fires and murders, gang-related shootings.
I can't think of the reporter. He put me in his book. He was the main one that received the tapes of R. Kelly and that 14-year-old girl. You know who I'm talking about? I cannot think of his name. He put me in his book.
Is he from the Chicago Tribune?
Yes, he was from the Chicago Tribune. I think you guys probably crossed paths.
You don't remember his name?
Not off the top.
Okay.
And it's funny because he thanked me in his book for all the research that I had did on R. Kelly and everything. And even though he had been doing it for years, but they didn't start listening until I was really into that shit. And that shit was dark. It was heavy. It was heavy. But so I was just wondering, I was gonna throw his name out there, but I can't even think of it. So but I'm sure it'll come back to me later. But so you worked at the Chicago Tribune.
And so I was initially a city news reporter, so just covering boring city stories, right? And then I was trying to get my own column. It was my dream to have my own column. So I was pitching the editors of their new edition, a new newspaper they had called the Red Eye edition of the Chicago Tribune. Okay. And this was more New York Post-y, because they had more fun headlines like the New York Post does. And so I was pitching them kind of a dating column. And long story short, they finally one day said, we're going to give you your own column, but it's going to be a gossip column. And I'm thinking, really? Because I didn't necessarily want a gossip column. I never was super into celebrities or anything like that. And they're like, we're doing this because you come to the office every other day and you're like, oh yeah, I was at the nightclub in VIP and I saw Cameron Diaz with Justin Timberlake and they got into a fight or like, I'd come in after going out the night before and at some event or some party and I have all the gossip and they're like, everyone, you can get into like all the clubs here and the bars and so you have the gossip and you should have a gossip column. And I was like, all right, but I never intended to cover Hollywood or celebrities for that matter. I wasn't even really interested in celebrities or Hollywood that much.
So what were you interested in?
I like politics a lot more than, celebrity gossip,
So the gossip maybe in politics with the dating and...
Yeah, I was way more into political reporting and hard news. Okay. Investigative pieces, those kinds of things. Hollywood was just, I wasn't super interested. I didn't read the magazines. I didn't watch a lot of those shows that everybody would watch. And so when I got the gossip column, I did like to go out though. So I would go to parties and I would see celebrities, but I didn't really care. Okay. And so, but my friends all made fun of me because they're like, oh my God, you don't even know who, like any celebrities. And like, now you're a celebrity reporter. And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, I got to make it work.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter what you're covering. And you just have to be a good journalist, right? And I was. Sure. So whether it's politics or celebrities or whatever, if you're a good journalist, then that shouldn't matter. And I actually think it benefited me that I wasn't, a Hollywood fangirl because a lot of entertainment reporters get into entertainment reporting because they're obsessed with celebrities and that's not good.
And the celebrities love that because it's like they get to have someone that favors them and whenever they need to put something out, it's always in their favor. Right. And they use people like that to discredit people like me and you and it's like, Yeah,
exactly.
We've been talking about Diddy up bitches for years.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd have loved Dr. Now. Out of here with that bullshit.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of journalists out there that are more interested in, becoming friends with celebrities and kissing their asses and the perks than actual journalism, and they shouldn't be in journalism. You know, if that's how you're behaving, like, then you shouldn't even be in journalism. Yeah. So I fell into Hollywood reporting because apparently I was really good at bringing gossip, you know, and so I got my own gossip column, and then right away I was breaking stories, and the Chicago Tribune's Red Eye edition, I was breaking stories that would get picked up by magazines like Us Weekly and Star and E! News, and so they all started calling me, and next thing I know, you know, I'm getting job offers from magazines like Us and Star and In Touch Weekly. And it's my first job with a magazine was with Us Weekly, and like practically overnight I became their most traveled reporter. And because I was really good at what I did, but specifically on the ground reporting. So I have traveled all over the world covering celebrities, and then eventually I ended up moving to LA and worked in Hollywood for Us Weekly, Star, National Enquirer, and In Touch Weekly. So that's 4 different magazines during my time in Hollywood.
So was it good? Like, I mean, did it become fun to you?
Yeah. I loved the travel. I loved getting a tip and being, you know, my editor would call me up and say, there was one morning I woke up and my editor called me and he said, we got a tip that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are in the Galapagos Islands and they might be getting married this weekend. And I was like, okay. And he's like, that's all I know. He's like, we have no idea where they're staying on the island, like what hotel, like when they got in. But that's all they knew. And I love that because I'm like, this is a challenge now. Yeah. Like I have to find them, you know. And so instead of going to the office that day, I had to switch gears and like pack a bag real quick and go straight to the airport. And, you know, like a day and a half later, like 3 airplane rides, a boat ride, you know, I'm in the Galapagos Islands. And I'm like, what? You know, but, and by the way, back then I didn't have a cell phone. So when I got to Galapagos Islands, like the hotels I stayed in, they didn't have phones.
That long distance was like real long distance calls.
It was, and I couldn't. I don't even know if I brought a laptop. I remember I had to go to this little cafe to type up my stories, and you know, and so. But when I got to the Galapagos Islands, they could be anywhere on the island, right? And so I loved like the challenge of like that, you know, trying like having to find them and like what are they doing here?
Did you find them?
I found them literally like within 15 minutes of.
It's probably the people talking on the island because you know when a celebrity comes, they know.
My boss was trying to get me to check into this 5-star resort because he was like convinced that they were staying at this 5-star resort, and my gut was telling me that they weren't there, and there wasn't a room available. So he was like, just find a room somewhere else and go straight to that hotel and just sit by the pool. And I'm like, I've just been on a plane for an hour and a half, and no, or not an hour and a half, a day and a half. And so but I knew that they weren't there. And so I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to check into my hotel and just start asking around. And sure enough, I just find this random hotel. The first one looked cute, you know, in the bay there. And right when I walked in, because most people there don't speak English at all, so I had to speak Spanish. I asked the woman in Spanish if she heard about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie being there. And she told me yes, and she like was just pointing like right outside the window there, and I was like, "No way, they're staying here." And sure enough, she was pointing at this home, like right like across the bay from this hotel that was like very close. It was very like a very tiny little bay where there was little boat docks and stuff. And she's like, "Kiki." And I'm like, really? And she was telling me they're in that house. And I was like, no way. Did I really get this lucky within like 5 minutes of landing in Galapagos Islands? And so I go up into my room and I get a drink and I'm just sitting looking like out the window. And sure enough, like there's Brad, there's Angelina, there's Maddox, there's Shiloh, and they're all like hanging out the pool. And so I'm taking pictures and I'm like, oh my God, jackpot, I found them already.
Damn, that was a big story.
They didn't end up getting married, so it really wasn't a big story. Yeah. Nothing like that scandals happened there. But, sometimes when you're told a celebrity is in this country or in this city, but that's all you're told, it could take 3 or 4 days before you actually are able to find out where they are. Because keep in mind, like this is before people had cell phones. So they could kind of get around more easily without people knowing where they were.
Get around more easily. There's a lot of shit that's coming up nowadays that was not even documented.
Yeah.
You know, like with the Diddy and Jay-Z and just all that shit. Kanye, like all this stuff was not documented, and now everybody's starting to speak because, you know, now it's the time too. Right. So like, yeah, I could definitely understand that. Now, so you're on the move. You're one of the hottest celebrity columns out there. Would you consider Wendy Williams a competitor of yours?
No.
Why not?
Well, when I was working for the magazines,
or just throughout your career?
No. I mean, she had her own TV show, and I didn't have a TV show, so I wouldn't.
Well, she had a radio show at the time.
Yeah,
and it was like, you know, she was really getting a lot of beef from like Puffy. Puffy was getting her fired and stuff because he was reporting on a lot of his gay rumors and accusations and things like that, and him beating Kim and all that shit. So, you know, and you were reporting some of the similar things. So I didn't know if you guys had cross paths at any point. Like,
no, I don't think I've ever met her. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, a lot of the stories I broke, a lot of people have no idea I broke them. You know, the bylines in these magazines were so small. A lot of people have no idea that so many of these stories were broken by me.
So you're breaking stories. Like I said, you said there's so many different ways we can go with this. You know, like the Kardashians. You knew that Bruce Jenner was trying on, was already cross-dressing before the public even knew about it. How'd you know about that?
Oh, we had a source tell us, you know. So basically, when I was working at the magazine, so I started at the magazines, I want to say 2003 to 2004-ish.
Okay.
And then I was working for these magazines until 2012. And during that time, there were so many stories that I heard back then that was kind of common knowledge, at least maybe not with all the reporters in the industry, but at least with a handful of them. And one of the things that I knew years before Bruce/Caitlyn started transitioning, like whatever, I don't know what to say.
And he's anti-trans, he's a trans and anti-trans right now.
Anti-trans. Yeah. But, you know, I knew that he was trans before, you know, it ever went public, because we had sources telling us that, you know, he was secretly cross-dressing and this is before he started growing his hair long and all that stuff, because there was a period of time where it was like, oh, like he's looking more feminine, like his
eyebrows were orange, fillers.
Yeah, he did it over, you know, like years, right? Like he was slowly, I think, trying to come out and like maybe get his family used to the idea of him becoming Caitlyn. But before he started growing out his hair and started, the fillers and all that stuff, and I think he got rid of the Adam's apple. But yeah,
he had an Adam's apple.
Yeah, I think he shaved it. I think he got surgery to shave it.
Shit.
But so, you know, I knew that he was trans, you know, years before it came out. You know, we had sources telling us all kinds of stuff, and that was one of the things. And so it's so interesting because there's a lot of things that I knew years ago, and then years later, it comes out and everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah.
Well, they monetized it when it came out. So Kris Jenner just didn't find out about that shit. Like she been new. You know, so when they put it on the show, like it was this big thing, they just marketed it. They monetized it. And, you know, Kris Jenner knows how to make her money. She don't give a shit who she's selling.
No.
Yeah, at all.
Well, including her daughter, because it was Kris Jenner that got Kim Kardashian the sex tape deal. And
Kevin Blatt told me.
Yeah.
You know Kevin?
I don't know Kevin.
Okay.
But I had a source that saw the contract.
Oh.
And this source read this is years ago. This is before Ray J started talking about it, right?
Oh, shit.
So we're talking years and years, like, I want to say.
So this is before Kevin Blatt even got it.
This was like 2010, I want to say.
Okay.
I'd have to pull up the magazine, but yeah, this was probably 2010, maybe 2011. So like 14 years ago. And so and this was a cover story I did with Star Magazine. I believe it was a cover story. I'm pretty sure it was a cover story. So my source saw the contract and she said that, you know, this wasn't leaked. This was all staged. And, you know, it was Kim Kardashian's mom who brokered the deal for the sex tape. And this source took and passed a polygraph test. So years later, when people started buzzing about it and Ray J was, you know, be more open about it. I was like, yeah, that was my cover story years ago, right? Yeah. So there were so many different stories that I've done years ago, and I don't know, people just kind of dismissed them or, maybe didn't think twice about them. And then, years later, it's just confirmation after confirmation after confirmation.
And that's exactly how it happened. Mm-hmm. Anything on Chloe's daddy?
So I do think I worked on.
Yeah, I have to ask, Liz, you was around before us. So I've got to know anything, because that girl don't look nothing like them other kids. They got very distinct looks. They look like their mama. Kris Jenner even look like her sisters, her grandmama, her mama. All of them look the same. What happened to Chloe? And Chloe don't even look like the daddy. Who's the daddy?
Okay, so yes, that was talk. We did do stories on that. Mm-hmm. I don't think I specifically.
And she big too. Everybody, all them other girls is little.
Oh yeah. Well, and they also, Kris also tried to monetize off of that too.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna prove that, you are my kid." And then she did a DNA test, but just on herself. And I'm like, hello, the mystery is not if you're her mom. The mystery is
who is her daddy?
Yeah, nice deflection there. But okay, I will say
I'm taking you all the way back, girl. I'm like,
I will say that this was kind of a debate in our office, and there, because there's lots of theories on who the dad is, but there is one guy that, in all of our opinions, we believe is most likely to be her father. And I can't prove this.
Who is allegedly? Who is it allegedly?
I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, the guy is a hairdresser.
Her hairdresser, I knew it.
So you know who I'm talking about?
I knew it. Yes, she looked just like his ass.
So yeah,
he was Kris Jenner. She was Kris Jenner's hairdresser.
Do you know what I'm talking about though? Because Kris Jenner did some cheesy video years ago, or she did a music video. There was some video that she did. We were all analyzing it. Again, this was probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're analyzing it and we're like, that's the dad.
So this shit been going around. This ain't no new stuff. Because that girl don't look nothing like them kids. No. Them kids have a very nice, what do they call, oval faces? Like how you got, you know what I'm saying? They're very, what do you call it? Where are they from? Armenia? What the fuck?
Well, yes. And Kris has admitted to having an affair on Rob Kardashian. So it's does one plus one?
She want Khloe to be an actual Kardashian. So I think it's kind of I don't want to devalue her.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Khloe doesn't like to talk about it. Whenever they've brought it up on the show, Khloe gets really uncomfortable and she changes the topic. And so, it's kind of sad. I mean,
if Robert was alive,
I just, at the end of the day, this is a theory we all had in the office, and I didn't work specifically on this story. Yeah. Other people did. And I can't even remember. They may have gotten evidence proving that it was true. I honestly can't remember because we did have reporters collecting DNA. I mean, people
y'all was doing it now. I heard that National Enquirer had a vault of archives of receipts.
Yeah. So National Enquirer, they actually, one of my colleagues there, he broke the John Edwards love child story.
Oh shit!
A year before the mainstream media picked up on it, and so he broke it and basically got no credit for it. And then a year later, the mainstream media catches up, which is always the case, right? Yeah. And the reason why he was able to break the story is because he took a dirty diaper from a bathroom and got a DNA test.
He took a what from the bathroom?
A dirty diaper from the baby.
That's some hellified journalism.
But see,
right there.
Can I tell you something?
That's some shit I would do. I ain't lie.
But see, here's the thing. People look at the tabloids and it's National Enquirer. It must not be true.
No, the National Enquirer was
no, actually,
true.
They were always ahead of the curve. And all of the stories that I worked on at National Enquirer and or Star Magazine, which is owned by the same company, American Media, they went to the greatest lengths to ensure the validity of the stories. So speaking of Bill Clinton, they had Bill Clinton's lawyers from, I believe, when he was president. They always insisted. So if it was a very salacious story, that would be possibly litigious, like an affair story or a love child story, like you had to you had to have someone on the record, someone off the record. You had to have physical evidence, and then like, and if it was a super salacious story, then they would insist on the sources taking and passing polygraph tests. Now, I've worked before for mainstream media outlets such as the Chicago Tribune. I also did a lot of investigative pieces with the New York Observer and other mainstream places. And I can't tell you one mainstream media outlet that I've worked for or even know of that goes to that far of great lengths to ensure the validity of a story. So,
and that's why they're still around to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like when I wasn't there that long, but when I was there, I met some of the best reporters and they were very thorough. The lawyers were very thorough. It was just like you had to have all your ducks in a row. And so,
and they were hot. I mean, you would be in a grocery store line looking like, what the like,
yeah,
every time. And the marketing was perfect because everybody got to go buy food.
Yeah.
They made sure their magazine was right there, and you looking like, what, Whitney? Is that Whitney laid up like that? Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, you can go back and look at so many different covers and see that there's so many things that they broke years ago that people thought, oh, there's no way, you know, and they were true. So,
what about Bill Clinton's love baby, that black boy,
Danny?
Yeah. How true is that?
I think it is. Yeah. I looked into that in, I think, 2017. I think that's his one. I'd say one of his love children because I'm sure Bill Clinton probably has many.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those were the rumors back then that there was more, like, because he was just, I guess he was a ladies' man because he was a very attractive guy and he happened to be, I think he got elected president because of his looks. I'm going to be honest with you. Like,
well, he wasn't just a very attractive man. He had that charm and charisma that a lot of politicians don't have, especially these days.
Obama had it, though.
Obama did have it.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So he had that, you know, je ne sais quoi, you know, that, but, you know, Bill's a predator. He's an evil man and he has raped multiple women.
Wait, whoa. Who did he?
Well,
Monica Lewinsky?
No.
Okay.
I would say that he took advantage of her and groomed her, but she's never said that. But there's been multiple women.
And that's alleged, by the way, but go ahead. Yeah.
Well, Juanita Broderick. Do you know who she is?
No.
Yeah, Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones. Like he sexually assaulted multiple women and some of them very violently. And there's also been allegations made against him that he's raped minors.
Now, where'd you get that from?
There was a story that a colleague that I have mutual friends with was covering in, I want to say 2017, 2018. And she had a source that claimed that he was raped as a child on a yacht at a party with elites by Bill Clinton.
Was this Jeffrey Epstein? Does it have anything to do with him?
It could.
Okay.
I don't know if Epstein was there or not, but so she was working on this story, and she collected all the evidence, and she interviewed the victim, or I should say alleged victim, but she interviewed this person. Next thing you know, she ends up dead.
The journalist.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I was going to ask you to put me in contact with her.
Nope, she died.
It was just a gravesite. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, it's just, you know, reporters that cover these kinds of topics surrounding the Clintons, you know, pedophilia, child sex trafficking, a lot of them end up dead.
So let me ask you something. So all this Jeffrey Epstein shit just...
And by the way, you can research her yourself. Her name was Jen Moore.
Jen Moore. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm writing her name down now. Before this Jeffrey Epstein shit hit the fan, was there anything, like, were you getting tips on him?
You know, back when I worked at the magazines, I basically just did the stories that they asked me to do. Okay. And, you know, they typically You know, you were asking me about Harvey Weinstein, and it's interesting because when I was working at the magazines, you know, I knew the Weinstein Company. You know, every year the Weinstein Company had a big Oscar party that everyone wanted to go to and whatnot. But I didn't hear that much about Harvey Weinstein. I don't think I ever heard one Harvey Weinstein story. But what I do know is that my bosses only wanted me to cover stories that would sell magazines, right? That's how the business works. So if it's not a name that people know,
you can't,
you know, because there's predators all over the place in Hollywood. And so if it's, you know, like a big, you know, even if it's just like a director or like a movie producer, like most people don't know the names of the people behind the cameras. So they weren't interested in those stories. They wanted stories with A-listers. That's it, because that's what sold magazines. So I didn't hear a lot of stories about Harvey Weinstein. I don't think I heard any, you know, years ago. It wasn't until much later that I started hearing things. And I heard a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein, but I didn't really start researching, you know, Jeffrey Epstein and his elite ring until 2016.
Yeah, these rings, I mean, before it was just taboo. You heard about it. Nobody speaks about it. No one knows. Like you said, I don't know if you saw my interview regarding Will Smith, like his best friend of 40 years sat down, Bilal, and the things that he alleged in that interview that he saw with his own eyes, like, you know, and then talking to you and you saying before the public even knew, you knew about the sex parties that Will and Jada would have and the cheating. I'm like, how do you cheat if y'all having sex parties? Like, how the fuck does that work?
Yeah.
Like, what did you hear?
Yeah, I remember hearing, you know, again, like I'd say 15 years ago that they had sex parties and, you know, like, I don't know if they were like orgies or what, but like I heard that, you know, they like swapped partners, swingers, like, you know, that they were into really wild stuff. And that was kind of not really that big of a secret in Hollywood back then. A lot of people knew about it and talked about it. But so, yeah.
Because they went to the parties, I guess.
Yeah, and
ZBC Essentials Body Butter Cream. We got Soft Girl Energy here, Cocoa Cashmere. This is what I got on right now. They smell so rich and fragranty, okay? I don't even know if fragranty is a word. We also got an unscented one in case some of y'all don't like the scented ones, but they are handmade butter creams. Highly absorbable. They don't leave your elbows ashy after you put it on, or 5 minutes after you put it on, your feet still ashy. I love that a black person has made body butter for black people. I said I love that a black person has made body butter for black people because only black people understand the level of moisture that we need. Now, treat your skin like it absolutely deserves to be treated. Head on over to zbcessentials.com and order your body butters today.
When we're stressed out about anything, including debt, there's so many other detriments to our lives, our health, our family, our friends, all can see it on us. And then when you become debt-free, you can start focusing on things that truly make you happy. It really is true happiness. I've had many individuals make up with family members after going through bankruptcy because they don't have the stress. It really changes your mindset and it allows you to have the freedom, the mental freedom to take care of what's really important. And I certainly recommend it for everybody because, as we all know, life is too short.
Yeah, I guess because they went to the parties, but I think a lot of these marriages in Hollywood are fake, you know? And so
let's talk about it.
Yeah. You know, so like people don't understand that in Hollywood, everything's fake. Everything's an illusion, you know, people that are in positions of power in Hollywood, specifically the people that are famous, it's all about fame and money. That's it. They don't care about anything else. So anything that's going to get them to achieve more fame and to earn more money, they'll do. That's all they care about. So if they need to, you know, marry this person because this person has star status and they have star status, when you bring them together, then they're going to have more star status, which means they'll sell more magazines, which means there'll be more magazine articles about them, which in effect is going to sell more of their albums or their movies, whatever. that's what happens all the time. So in Hollywood, you have a lot of arranged relationships, arranged marriages, and sometimes these celebrities are in arranged relationships and they don't even know it. And the best example I can give you of that would be Britney Spears. Britney Spears, all her handlers, aka her traffickers, they would usher in men to date her, and they would make men that they had handpicked out, mind you, right? So they would usher in men to quote unquote date her, but they would make her think that she's organically meeting this person, that this person actually got cast, you know, in her music video or whatever in an organic way, when in reality, behind the scenes, her handlers found this person for her to date, and then I'm sure got paid, you know, whatever. And they were told, all right, you know, date Britney Spears, like go hit on her or whatever. And so, you know, she's thinking, oh, this guy likes me, asked me on a date, and next thing you know, she's in a relationship and or married. And in reality, that person was paid to be her handler. So that kind of stuff happens all the time. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's the reality. It don't sound
crazy to me because that's a lot of money. Britney is money.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why they Britney was worth, before they stole all of her money, by the way, was worth so much money, right? And there were so many people that became multi millionaires because of her, right? And so when she started saying no to them, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want this manager anymore. No. When she starts saying no, hell no. You think they're going to allow someone like Britney Spears to tell them no? So they had to figure out a way to control her. And they do that for all these celebrities, that once they, you know, start saying no or stepping out of line, or they don't stick with the narrative that they're told to push, then they got to come in and control them. You know, Kanye West would be another perfect example of someone that needs to be handled, you know? And we learned that Kanye West did have a handler. It was his fitness trainer, Harley Pasternak. Harley Pasternak, his quote unquote fitness trainer. Well, it turns out that he's former Canadian intelligence who specializes in mind control and brainwashing. And he has repeatedly threatened Kanye that if he doesn't do what he's told, then they will drug him and they will throw him back in the psych ward, which they have done. And that's exactly what they did to Britney Spears. So if you...
Do you think that's why her dad stepped in?
Her dad was more the fall guy. Don't get me wrong, her dad's a horrible person, and I believe her mom is too. Mm-hmm. But they used her father, Jamie Spears, who really is just like a drunk, a lost man, an abusive man. They used him as the fall guy. You know, they used him as the guy that they blamed for this illegal conservatorship that she was put under. He was just a patsy. The real mastermind behind her conservatorship and the trafficking and all the crimes that were committed against her, the illegal surveillance, the drugging of her, they forced an IUD in her against her will. They were taking blood from her from this medical clinic. Why were they taking her blood? No one ever asks these questions, right? The mastermind behind all this was a woman named Lou Taylor. Now, Lou Taylor owns an entertainment management company called TriStar.
I've heard of TriStar.
Who are some of her clients? Diddy, J-Lo. J-Lo may have parted ways. The Kardashians, Kylie Jenner. And so when you look at this woman who we know was involved in the legal conservatorship of Britney Spears where she was abused, trafficked, tortured. I mean, they did her full story has not come out yet. So she was a mastermind behind all this. And by the way, they stole all her money too on top of that. And they may have used Kylie Jenner's cosmetic company as a front for that. This is all, I did a documentary on Britney Spears' conservatorship called Slave Princess. So I detailed all of this in my documentary.
We'll link that below this video.
And so that's why I'm very well versed in this topic. I know everything about it because I researched it, I think, for like 8 months straight.
But is it true? I was speaking to Corey and Kyle Massey's mother, Ashley Massey. Mm-hmm. And, they came out with that whole documentary, Quiet on the Set. And, her sons work with Dan and all that shit. And she said she knows Jamie. And she said she feels that Jamie's a good person. But that judge that was over Britney's case took the conservatorship from Britney's father and gave it to her friend. She said, look it up, Tasha. I still haven't had a chance to go verify that information, but you're like the third person that has told me, even though Jamie's a piece of shit, he was actually trying to protect her from a lot of the shit that was going on.
He was not the mastermind behind it. It was Lou Taylor. And yes, she befriended Jamie. There's rumors that they were sleeping together. Who knows? They got baptized together in Israel. There's pictures. Oh, la, la, la.
Oh, shit.
And Lou, runs these charities for abused women and children, which, by the way, they had to shut them down and then rename them and rebrand them because there was all these abuse allegations within the organization. She's a complete and total fraud, and she's an evil monster. She slithered in to Britney's circle like a snake, cozied up with Jamie Spears, who's a weak link. He's an alcoholic, he's a mess, whatever. She saw
Probably
that,
never had no pussy
preyed
like that
upon that. And Britney always hated her. Britney called her a stalker. She would send notes and gifts and stuff to Britney's home and was always trying to get in touch with Britney. And, Britney's written letters and said that she did not like her. She was afraid of her. She was weird. She was a stalker. She knew she was bad. But yeah, she was slithering her way, into the circle, and she woos Jamie and she woos the family, and she argues the conservatorship and everybody gets money. Oh, if she's in a conservatorship, we'll pay you this and to keep everyone happy. Meanwhile, Britney's, they won't even give her enough money to buy a pair of Skechers shoes. She didn't have a phone. She didn't have a phone for years, She's never controlled her social media. She still doesn't. What they did to her is awful, and people still really don't understand how bad it really was, and that, in my opinion, she's still in a conservatorship because the last court records that I saw, what they did is they never ended the conservatorship.
They transferred it.
And I can't remember the exact legal terms they used. I think what they did is they called it a care plan, and then they sealed the records. So there were people were starting to figure out that they were abusing her, that they were trafficking her, and they were doing all these horrible things to her. And the movement organically grew, right? And so people started figuring that out, and it's like, oh shoot, we gotta get all these Free Britney people to calm down over here, right? So they usher in the White Knight, the new lawyer, Matthew Rosengart, who's, by the way, tied to all these shady people that are involved, in the criminal activity against Britney. So whatever, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. And he hasn't done anything to get justice for her and what happened to her. And what they did is they did this whole, Britney's free. Yay, free Britney. She's free of her conservatorship. But if you actually read the court documents, she's not. The conservatorship never ended. They changed it from a conservatorship to a care plan.
And what's that movie, I Care a Lot?
Oh, that's Lou Taylor. That's actually a nice version of Lou Taylor. Imagine that woman times 1,000 in levels of evil. That's Lou Taylor.
What was she doing with Britney's blood?
With Britney's what?
Blood. Why was she taking blood?
Yeah, I'd like to know that myself. But Britney said that under oath in her testimony, and I believe that's the last time we actually heard from Britney. That the stuff that you see on social media, hasn't controlled that in years, and she still doesn't. So, you know, people are like, oh my God, like Britney's
so all that
crazy.
spinning around and shit, because it does make Britney look.
Of course, that's the
like
goal.
She's crazy. So every time they post, like, but I've never seen her go live.
Because she's still enslaved. Remember, they turned it from a conservatorship to a care plan. Never defined what a care plan is. So is that just like a nice way of saying a conservatorship? And then they sealed the records. So we really have no way of knowing what the truth is because they sealed the records. And if she's free, why would they need to seal the records?
Okay, and you know, there was a lot of outrage behind Wendy and that conservator. Like, they took it from her family, gave it to some woman that happens to be a conservator. Like, she's a lawyer, she's an estate lawyer, but it's like, why would you not communicate with the family? If you're a conservatorship, like, if you're a conservator, why would you not want to communicate with the family about the health and well-being? But you are getting a cut. You get paid from this money. So why not talk to the family that's involved to let them know how she's doing or what she's up to and things like that? But they have gotten nothing, you know?
No one in Wendy's family. Because it's a criminal scheme to take control over a person, their wealth, their money, their star status, you name it. And I haven't dug deep into Wendy Williams' story, but I have done some research on it, and I see all the same markers of her story as Britney's. I feel that she seems to be someone that started telling too much truth, so they had to move in and get her under control, which is exactly what they tried to do to Kanye West. They tried to put him in a conservatorship. They tried to do the same thing to Lindsay Lohan.
And Kim was orchestrating that, wasn't she?
Yes.
Is what I heard, yeah.
Yes.
Because she would have been in control over the money.
Yes. And at the time when he was thrown in the mental institution, it was the same hospital, by the way, that Britney Spears was thrown in. I had a source that was on the phone with someone that was with Kanye as this all was happening. So he was literally in the room with Kanye as he was
being told he was having a mental breakdown.
Taken away. And my source was on the phone with them as it was happening in real time. So this is a good source I've known for a long time.
How was Kanye able to escape though? It's almost like he had to give up his star power to do it.
I think he got help. I think he got help from people that he knew would help him. Do you remember the first place he went after he left the psych ward?
I can't remember.
There's one place that he went straight to as soon as he left the hospital.
I have to look that up.
It was Trump Tower in 2016. He went straight to Trump Tower. And Trump, you know, they remember this is when Trump had won, but he hadn't been sworn in as president yet. So Trump was, you know, getting his team ready at Trump Tower, and there would be people ushered in all day long at Trump Tower doing meetings with President-elect Trump. And he left the psych ward and flew straight to New York and met with Trump. And during this time period, whenever someone would meet with Trump, like the TMZ, like all the cameras would be out there. Oh, how was your meeting with Trump? Like, what did you talk about? Are you going to be part of his team? Are you going to work in the White House? Are you going to get a cabinet position? So Kanye shows up, like right after he was in the psych ward, and Trump came down with him after their meeting, and he said something along the lines of like, oh yeah, we want to like, you know, like we're talking about how we can, you know, make things better for the Black community, and it's like, he just left the psych ward. Like, come on. You really think that he's going to meet with Trump to talk about politics?
Yeah. So, and I remember Kim was sitting in Trump's office, and it's like he brought the family along. So obviously there was some type of deal made.
Well, I will also say this. When he went so-called crazy, I was told that he was drugged. And he has, I believe, he has posted text messages from Harley Pasternak, so the fitness trainer, aka his handler, with the former intelligence background, a Canadian intelligence background in specialization in mind control. So I was told that he was drugged. They put something in his drink. I think he was like working out at the time when he went crazy. It's not like he was out partying. Like he wasn't drinking alcohol or anything like that. I think he was drinking like a pop or like maybe even just water. But they put something in his drink that made him go like hallucinate or whatever. So he appeared to be going crazy.
And that's
but
when
he'd been drugged.
We had all those outbursts in the media of him on TMZ and
right.
And yeah.
And then Kanye did post text messages from Harley when he was basically threatening him and threatening to put him back in the mental institution. And I think he may have also posted a message where he's threatening to drug him again. And Kanye's definitely talked about it, but they were trying to get him on lithium, which is what they forced Britney to be on, which she did not want to be on, but that they used lithium as a way to control her, and I would argue to mind control her as well. Because again, these handlers like Harley, they specialize in mind control. Now, why is someone that's just Kanye West's fitness trainer threatening to throw him in a psych ward if he doesn't toe the line or push a certain narrative? Does that make any sense to you whatsoever?
None at all.
Like, I mean, I've had a few trainers in my life and they're like, okay, like, what's your diet like? Like, did you get enough sleep last night? Did you get enough water? Like, did you work out? When we missed our appointment the other day. Like, I've never had a trainer that's like, like, push this narrative or I'm going to throw you in a psych ward. And like, come on. So what happens in Hollywood is you have people like a boyfriend that's dating Britney Spears, who she thinks actually likes her, and that they organically met, when in reality, he's being paid to be her handler. Or you have Holly Pasternak, who allegedly is Kanye's fitness trainer. I'm sure at one point he really believed he was just a fitness trainer and that's it. And it's like, no, that's actually the cover for what he's really doing.
I mean, because fitness trainers, I've had, like fitness trainers, they can bring you from one mood to another. Like, it's not that they specialize in getting you in shape. It's all about really mind control. Like, can I make you disciplined? Can I make you responsible? Can I motivate you when you're unmotivated? So I can understand how the two why they would say a fitness trainer as opposed to somebody that's Canadian intelligence. And I'm gonna have to look that up. Like I said, Liz, you blowing this shit out the water.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like I said, you walk so I can run, but I got a long way to catch up. You understand?
But it goes much deeper than that. And these, this corruption, and this evil force of people that's working in tandem in Hollywood to control celebrities, they work with a lot of people in Hollywood. These webs intersect. So, you have Lou Taylor, who was a mastermind behind Britney's conservatorship. Well, she also tried to put Lindsay Lohan in a conservatorship. And
oh, shit.
Yeah. And for my documentary, I interviewed Michael Lohan. And the only reason why she was saved from that is because Michael Lohan her father stopped it, because he knew this woman was evil and she was just coming after Lindsay's money. But she tried to put many celebrities into conservatorships. And you know what else she went after? She went after Prince's estate.
Prince? Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to be honest with you, it shocked me that Prince died so early. He was extremely healthy. Yeah. So to hear that he all of a sudden had a drug problem and he was addicted to pain pills, that threw me for a loop. I'm going to be honest with you. That's probably, yes, I cried when Michael Jackson died. However, when Prince died, I said, how?
I've never, do you believe that? That's why he died?
No.
Yeah. Prince, you go back and you listen to things that Prince said. I mean, you go back and you listen to old interviews of Prince, Michael Jackson, and it's like, oh, now I know why they had enemies. Oh, now I know why they were targeted. Oh, now I know why this person was probably murdered. Because you can see who wasn't willing to toe the line, who wasn't willing to just push whatever agenda they wanted them to push. And like, I've always believed that he was a good one. And the fact that this evil monster, who I know is behind the illegal conservatorship and all these horrible things that happened to Britney Spears, including stealing all her wealth, she went after his estate as well. And so, like, this woman connects to so many people in Hollywood, and she's...
And Prince was, when I tell you, he was probably one of the only artists that I think Hollywood was threatened by because of his education, and he was educating other artists on how to escape the system and how to own your shit. And he would talk about it. I remember meeting, talking to so many different celebrities, and they said they had conversations with Prince about things that they need to, to do in order to, have longevity in the music industry. He always talked about health and wellness. So to hear that he had a pain pill problem.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I've met him before too.
I was just like, he was just on The View. I
don't even think he drank.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when they said that, I was like, okay, so that sounds too familiar. The Michael Jackson story, but Michael was not administering his own. Michael was, IV was put in Michael's arm to go to sleep. Where the fuck do they do that at?
Right.
Like that to me is bizarre. You needed this to go to sleep?
Yeah.
They can just give you a pill and you go to sleep. Yeah. Why do you need an IV of one of the most dangerous narcotics out there to go to sleep? Mm-hmm. When he went to sleep, his estate was worth almost $1 billion more than what it was when he was alive. Right. He was worth more dead than alive.
Of course.
And Prince as well. Mm-hmm. And Prince ended up he was under the ownership of the labels. Mm-hmm. He got his ownership back, said, the name. I'm just going to use the symbol. People still going to refer to me as Prince anyway. Right. They wound up taking the shit back again. Mm-hmm. After he died. I mean, I was 50. Prince is 55. What the
Yeah. He was a good guy, in my opinion, and he was helping too many other people and shining a bright light on too much truth, and he couldn't be controlled. And if you can't be controlled in Hollywood and you have that much fame and money, then you need to be dealt with. Look at all the celebrities that have died under suspicious circumstances. Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, Avicii, Anna Nicole, her son, by the way, as well. Brittany Murphy, Whitney Houston,
her daughter.
Oh, that's a good point. Her daughter too. What are the odds of that? Do we believe that story or both those stories? So when you look at all these celebrities that have died under suspicious circumstances, Anne H, she's another good example. Did you see the footage of her after her car accident crawling out of the gurney?
I didn't see that. No.
Oh, it's the most horrifying thing you've ever seen. And they said that she died in a car crash. They said that she was wasted. But I dug into it, and the last person to see her was this guy that was she stopped at some costume shop or something to buy some kind of costume. And the last person that saw her, which was 10 minutes before the accident, we're not talking an hour, right? The last person saw her said she seemed stone sober. And so she gets in this car accident, and there is street footage of her car going 70 miles per hour down an alley. It's crazy, right? But as someone that's investigated, intelligence files that have been dropped by WikiLeaks, I know that the CIA has the capability to remote control your car. And that's one of the ways that they can assassinate someone, right? So that's when I see those things.
And that is very true, by the way.
It is true.
But they try to paint you as a conspiracy theorist when you're literally stating the facts and stating, listen, I just don't think that this death was a clean death.
Right.
Because people have the capabilities, and if this person has this type of money, they're in these conservatorships, people have something to gain off of these people being dead.
Well, Anne H was doing a lot exposing sex trafficking at the time.
Oh.
And she used to date Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh.
And Ellen DeGeneres has a lot of problems. I would say that she has a lot of skeletons in her closet, and it's not just that she's a bitch behind the scenes on her TV set, which she was that too, but she was exposing sex trafficking. She just did a movie, for Lifetime on sex trafficking, but there were some intelligence reports that came out. Now, I don't know if they're true or not, that she was working behind the scenes to take down not just child sex trafficking, but higher up elite pedophiles. So that would be an incentive to get rid of her, right? And so, the last person to see her, she seems stone sober. And then you see the car going 7 miles per hour. I know that they have the capability to remote control cars. And then you see the photos from inside the car, and it's like all these like mini little bottles of vodka. It looks staged to me. But the most horrifying thing is that the ambulance comes, and there was a news helicopter covering it. This was, in LA. There's always news helicopters flying around. And so they're filming the accident as it happened. And all of a sudden you see a gurney with like a sheet over it as if it's a dead body, right? All of a sudden you see her pop up, and she's trying to crawl off of it. Like she knows they're trying to kill her. And like, as if she knows, like, oh my gosh, if I get to the hospital, I'm a goner. It's the creepy thing. Next thing you know, and she's dead. And it's like, she was like on the gurney, like wide awake, like trying to like escape.
You know what? I think I remember that video, and I turned it off because it was just like, what the is this? It was like something like a scene from a horror movie.
It was, and it
was daylight.
It was broad daylight, and that's not normal. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're Anne H or just a random person.
I do remember
that's not
that.
normal.
I do.
And
yeah.
But if you question it, then they call you crazy, and it's like, no. What I just saw was crazy. So are we going to believe the mainstream media? Are we going to believe what they're saying about this? Or are you going to believe what you just saw with your own eyes? Because a woman that's supposed to be dead looked fine and alert and looked to be like fighting for her life, trying to get off this gurney because she knew that she'd been targeted, And so there's just so many incidents of celebrities just dying suspicious deaths when, they're not pushing a certain narrative, or they're not allowing their handlers to control them.
Let's talk about Kathy White.
Yeah.
She was college educated, very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
She ran a PR firm, and it was rumored that she was in a relationship with Jay-Z.
Right.
At the same time, he was in a relationship with Beyonce. Matter of fact, I think he was engaged to Beyonce, if I'm not mistaken, or if not already married.
I believe they were already married at the time. This is when Beyonce was pregnant.
Allegedly.
We'll get to that part.
Allegedly.
Because
I see Beyonce pregnancy, but I'm like, this don't look like no real pregnant woman. Like like how when you pregnant, your face get fat, your titties get fat, your nose get. Beyonce looked like Beyonce up here, and her stomach looked. Yeah. It didn't look, and then she wore wide dresses so you couldn't get a paint of the body.
Well, what about when it deflated her stomach?
Know.
I mean, like, I'm still trying to. How do you rationalize that? That's again, like, are you going to believe the mainstream media? Or are you going to believe your eyes? And keep in mind, a lot of the stories that you read about celebrities, guess who the source is? Their publicist.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, it's not like they're, it's, the source is the publicist.
Or damn near the celebrity.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yes.
Sometimes the sources are the celebrity. So, like, they will just feed lies and lies and lies. And it's the media's job to investigate what the publicist is saying to see if it's true or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I thought they were married at the time. I can't remember, but she was definitely pregnant with Blue Ivy. And
yeah, because Kathy died in September. Blue Ivy was born in January of that following year. Because I did look that up.
Yeah.
So how did you meet Kathy?
I never met her in person.
Okay.
So what happened is, this is when I was at Star Magazine, and my boss said, hey, I want to do this, Jay-Z affair, mistress story. He's allegedly having an affair with this woman named Kathy White. Can you find her? Can you get a hold of her? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, sure. And so at the time, I got a hold of her, and I was told that she was living in California, but then by the time I got hold of her, she was in New York, working for a company in New York, and I can't remember.
Keep talking. I'm Googling something while you say that.
I couldn't remember the name of the company.
Okay.
I know you said that she had her own PR company, but that the company she was working for was not her own company.
Okay.
Because one of the things that stuck out to me the most is I talked to a couple of her colleagues, and one of her colleagues was very chatty. And her colleague was not happy that she was working there, and she'd just been transferred, to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I say transferred because it was my impression that Jay-Z had her move there.
Oh,
that
because him and Beyonce had an apartment in New York at the time, and I guess it would be easier.
I was the impression that I was given by multiple sources was that she wasn't qualified for the job that she got. I know it pissed off her colleagues because her one colleague went on and on and on about it. And she's like, it doesn't make any sense that she got the position that she's in, like she's not qualified for it. And like, she just came out of nowhere. And I'm like, well, did Jay-Z get her the job? Like, is this like part of their deal or whatever? And she didn't know for sure if that had happened, but she believed that was highly plausible because it just didn't make sense. She just came out of nowhere and she didn't seem to be qualified. And like, I don't know, the whole thing was just really strange. So she was working for this other company at the time, and I got a hold of her at her office. And initially when I talked to her on the phone, I said, there's been blogs, the Hollywood Street King, that have reported that, you're Jay-Z's mistress and you've had an affair with him. And she said that she didn't even know him. And I was like, come on. I'm like, so you're saying that you've never even met him? And she's like, no. And then she proceeded to tell me that she'd never even been in the same room as him, and she'd never been to one of his concerts, like nothing. And I was like, all right. And then after we got off the phone, like I did more digging, and I found pictures of her with Jay-Z. And one of the pictures was, I believe, her at Tao in Las Vegas with Diddy as well.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, okay, well, if she's lying about this, that, the fact she's lying about knowing him, obviously, because I have the photos.
And never even been in the same room.
Yeah. So it's like, so she's probably lying about the affair too, right? And so I called her back and I was like, hey, Kathy, I'm like, I'm looking at pictures of you with Jay-Z. You're like at a party with him or a nightclub or whatever. And it's clearly you. And so, I know that you've met him and you've been in the same room as him, and you denied that before. So back then, at the time, we had sources telling us that yes, they were having an affair and she is his mistress. And so I said, my boss wants to run this story, and you can tell your side of it or you cannot tell your side of it, but we're probably going to run the story regardless. And so I said, if you want to tell your story on the record, you can tell off the record. It's up to you. But, we're probably going to run this story one way or the other. And, it's your choice. But I know that at the minimum, like, you've been in the same room as him because of these photos. And
then you lied about it.
Yeah. And yeah. And at that point, she just, was like, all right, and she wasn't denying, okay, yeah, like I was in the photos. At that point, she was like, she knew that she was busted, right? And so she was like, okay, yeah, let me think about it. Let me think about doing an interview with you. And so she was considering doing the interview with me. And after I brought the photos, she didn't say, oh, well, I was at this party with him, but, I'm not his mistress. There was none of that. It was just, all right.
How did Claudia Jordan's name get in there?
And with who? With her?
With Kathy. Because I know you stated in one of your tweets that Kathy had told you. Did you say that Kathy had told you that she was friends with Claudia Jordan, or?
No, but I think but there's been other reports about Claudia in other blogs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out, because I knew they were in pictures together, and I was trying to figure out how you got in, like, how did you come to that knowledge, or even if you did, because internet, there's so many different versions out there.
Yeah. I never talked to Claudia. I've never met her. I don't think I even tried to reach out to her.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a blind item in Crazy Days and Nights saying that, it was a blind item. So it was like, the mistress of this, A+ rapper, Like her best friend believes that she was murdered, that years later, and then the blind item was revealed, and it was revealed that the best friend was Claudia Jordan, according to Crazy Days and Nights.
Okay.
And so that's why Crazy Days and Nights is usually pretty solid. They usually, I mean, they've been over the target for many years and ahead of the curve on a lot of these stories for years. So,
okay. Well, shout out to Crazy Days and Nights.
Yeah, no, they're right. So they published that blind item in, I think, 2021. So, I never talked to her, and I just talked to Kathy, and so she was thinking about doing the story, and the next thing I know, I'm trying to get a hold of her and I can't. And again, this is before cell phones. Most people didn't have cell phones back then. And so I'm like, I kept trying to call her work. And, so I called her colleagues and I said, well, do you know what's going on with Kathy? It's just so weird. I haven't heard from her. She usually answered her phone. And the one colleague I got a hold of first was like, yeah, she's dead. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, she's dead. I'm like, what do you mean she's dead? Like what happened? Like, was she sick? Was there something wrong with her? And she said, she's like, I heard that she was just found in her apartment dead. And they didn't know what had happened, And so at that point in time, like that was very disturbing for me to hear because, intuitively I'm like, oh, there's something more going on
They
here.
said it was a brain aneurysm.
Yeah, they said it was brain aneurysm. She was 28. She was healthy from what I've been told.
She was fitness.
And, initially, there was sources saying that police did believe that it could have been a homicide, and there was signs of that at the scene. And the next thing you know, it's the coroner lists it as an aneurysm. And I remember telling my boss, I'm like, I think she was murdered. Like there's way too many red flags here with the story that aren't adding up. And then there was other blogs like reporting that blogs that I had not spoken to, by the way. I wasn't talking to anyone. And there were other blogs reporting that, a reporter from a tabloid, reached out to her and she was considering like doing, telling her story with this reporter. Well, they were talking about me. And so I don't know who their sources were.
Or how they found that out.
Because I didn't talk to them, but Kathy must have told some of her friends that she had talked to me. And then the next thing, so it was, it's getting around. And then some of these blogs reported that what happened after I talked to her on the phone is that she went to Jay-Z and said that I reached out to her and she told him that she was considering doing the story. And then some other people wrote and or speculated that she gave Jay-Z kind of an ultimatum, like, give me X amount of dollars or else I'm going to tell this story. Now, I can't prove that because I was never told that by anyone, but I read that, on some of these blogs and, they did have it right about my part of the story, me reaching out to her.
So obviously the rest had to be.
Right. So I don't know who they talked to. And so, there was so many red flags with this death. Like none of it made sense. And, and I told my boss at the time, this is shady, like this doesn't add up. I think that this could be and I'm like, we need to pursue this. Like we need to investigate this, find out what really happened to her. And he didn't want me to pursue it. He didn't want the magazine to pursue it. It was really weird, and then the coroner came out and said it was an aneurysm and, anyways, but then over the years, I met with other sources that were kind of on the inside of this, so to speak. And they told me that they were very confident that she was indeed murdered. And they had more information on what went down behind the scenes. And they told me that it's their very strong belief based off of the information that they were able to gather. Again, these are people that were on the inside, that Jay-Z potentially hired someone to her. And they went into detail explaining to me how people like Jay-Z are able to commit crimes very easily because they have law enforcement in their pocket, they have coroners in their pocket, they pay people off. I was told that to pay a coroner off, to list something or rule something as a natural death, like an aneurysm, as opposed to they're like, oh, like $1,000, like 2,000, just a few thousand, like nothing, like chump change. And so it's always been my opinion that she did not die from an aneurysm. And it's always been my opinion that she was most likely murdered. And I do remember the time thinking, he had a bunch of mistresses back then, by the way. A bunch. And
there was one that came out, she made a music video. She's a blogger now, but she threw shots at Beyonce because she said, I'm Jay-Z. And like, I can't remember her name. Shit. She made a whole music video just dissing Beyonce. And was talking about being a mistress of Jay-Z. I mean, beautiful girl. She looked Native American. This was probably like 10 years ago.
Okay. So that would have been like 2015?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't think of her name right now. It'll come to me, but
well, when my story came out about Kathy, it just was a blurb in a bigger story. Because obviously she didn't do the interview and my boss didn't want to pursue if this was a potential homicide or not, which really bothered me and has eaten away at me.
Like he had something to do with it? Like, yeah, he knew?
I wanted to investigate. Like, this to me, this
maybe
was
he got a call to be like, hey.
Well, that's what I wonder that as well. I wonder that as
So,
well.
there's been, that's crazy. There's been speculation that Jay-Z is Beyonce's handler. And I got this from a very, very, very credible source. And allegedly, Jay-Z is 10 years older than Beyonce. And, if Aaliyah was still alive, there would be no Beyonce. And so, like, when we see Beyonce go on tour, let's say, for example, Jay-Z is the one negotiating those tours. Beyonce doesn't have a deal with Live Nation. Jay-Z does. She has to go through Jay-Z to get major deals, tour deals, and things like that, even her Verizon deal. And to see that she's worked more than Jay-Z, longer than Jay-Z, and she still hasn't made Forbes.
Right. I've never looked at it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
Never made Forbes. This lady is on tour if not every other year, every other 2 years. She's always dropping albums. He hasn't dropped an album since his Confessional, when she made Formation, and everybody knew what Formation was. It was kind of like her way of standing up. And even when I listened to her country album, like 16 Carriages, it's like that song is like she's lost a lot of her life because she went from her father to Jay-Z.
Yeah. That would make perfect sense. And it actually...
Those are just my opinions.
And it also helps me like put puzzle pieces together with what may have happened with Kathy. Because I do remember the time thinking there are several women that are having affairs with Jay-Z. And again, like the Kathy story ended up just being a blurb in a bigger story about another woman he had an affair with and allegedly a love child with. And I guarantee you that story was accurate because, like I mentioned earlier, Star Magazine, like they'll collect DNA, like the stuff they do to verify a story like that. Like they can't have a story like that on Jay-Z not being true because Jay-Z would sue,
Google
right?
This picture real quick. Go ahead.
So, but now this baby mama didn't go on the record. Okay. And keep in mind, this is before there was TikTok and there were a ton of blogs. Like most people are still getting all their celebrity news from just the magazines. And so you have to understand that whatever the magazine said, like carried the most weight, and they could either uplift a celebrity or it could just crash the whole world with one issue, right? What is this?
We're trying to figure out who that little girl is with Jay-Z.
Are you talking about Blue Ivy?
The other little girl.
Oh, yeah, that could be. So yeah, one of the baby mamas, she was living in Trinidad. Her name was Chanel Scott, I believe. Mm-hmm. I can get you the article.
Oh, yes, please.
See this is another thing. A lot of our stories were only in the magazines. We didn't put them online. So that story isn't online, but I have the magazine, so I can show it to you.
Yeah, because we were trying to figure out who is this little girl with... She looks like Blue Ivy.
Yeah, I know that, I heard that the one in Trinidad, I believe that they would go there often to visit.
Yeah.
But so,
and Beyonce knows about these kids, but only her kids are, I guess, because I guess her kids are claimed publicly as Carters. No one else can be claimed publicly. As a Carter.
Because according to the other story we did, and I didn't work directly on this story, the other mistress that has the love child with Jay-Z, allegedly, I didn't work on that story, but the reporters that did reported that, she was paid, very well to basically shut up, and not say anything bad about them and not acknowledge that, she had an affair or this is Jay-Z's kid or whatever.
Because it would devalue Beyonce.
Well, see, and that's what I'm about to get to is that back then it's like, okay, he's all these mistresses, but like, why would he Kathy? I mean, he has a bunch, right? You can't all your mistresses, and like, what would be the incentive? And when I was first interviewing, or not interviewing, because I never officially interviewed her, but when I first started just calling her, telling her I wanted to interview her, what I didn't realize at the time is that Beyonce was pregnant. The news had not broken yet. Okay?
That would make a good... We can't have a mistress and Beyonce.
So, and I also didn't realize that they were crafting one of the biggest publicity stunts to announce Beyonce's pregnancy on stage at the VMAs. When she did her performance at the very end, she turned, oh, look, oh my God, she's a baby bump. She's pregnant. Like, no, I didn't even know. And I was like working in the business. I did not know she was pregnant. So then.
And this was like a few months after.
No, I was talking to Kathy before the announcement.
Yeah, no. So it's like.
So when I'm talking with Kathy and Jay-Z or Beyonce's PR army is planning one of the biggest publicity stunts to announce her pregnancy, which that's a big deal for a celebrity because that's going to get you like great press for the next like 2 years, right? Oh, like, like getting ready for baby. And, we did tons of baby covers. But a mistress
coming out.
So
that's possibly pregnant.
So that's the thing.
Talk about it, Liz.
So that's the thing. And that's when I was like, oh.
Cheers. This is so juicy. Cheers. Like, you're not even drinking, girl. I'm drinking for you. Go ahead. Go ahead. But go ahead. Listen.
And so that's the thing. I was thinking, and I'm pretty sure that she died before Beyonce did.
Yeah, she did.
Yes. But
she did.
But there are reports that she was found after the VMA performance, but I'm pretty sure that I knew she was dead before Beyonce announced that she was pregnant. Now it was 15 years ago. I could have that wrong, but I do remember thinking, why would there be a major motive to this mistress? Yes, if she's gonna give me an exclusive on the record, that's a huge problem because none of them had at that point in time. But then I'm like, why would there be an incentive to her? And then I remember thinking that. And then I watched the VMAs and it's like, oh boy.
What did you say to your boss then? What did you say to your boss then? Like, this is you. I mean, even if you don't have absolute concrete facts at the time, just to put it together, like just to say, okay, I'm not saying it's a but there's a lot of elements to.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, like, okay, you talked to her, Kathy White. She said she didn't know Jay-Z, never seen him, never been in a room with him. You coming back, here's some pictures, y'all in the room together. So we pretty much know. Are you gonna talk or are we gonna have to run with it? I think she had a conversation with Jay-Z. There's no way that she did not have a conversation with Jay-Z.
Well, and here's the other thing you have to understand.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Things are different now. But back then, it was very different, right? They could not have a story like this overshadowing the publicity stunt they'd been planning probably for years, knowing like how these publicists work. Mm-hmm. They could not have anything overshadowing it or dominating the news. That would be devastating to their public image back then, because back then, like, you know, the stories we did do about Jay-Z, like I think a lot of people just kind of like, I don't know, because there was no one that went on the record, you know. But if this woman went on the record and we would have made her take a polygraph test and pass it, and, you know, and all of that stuff, evidence, you know, show, like, send me text messages, like all the fair stories I ever did. Mm-hmm. I had to get like phone records, text messages, emails, like physical proof that it happened, not just your word, right? And we would have done that if she was willing to tell her story, which she was considering. That would have dominated the news, not the fact that Beyonce was pregnant. And that would have been devastating to them at the time, because the culture was a little bit different. You know, I remember when Jesse James was having an affair on Sandra Bullock, you know, everyone was like, oh, yay, Sandra Bullock, girl next door, yay, she finally, you know, like, I think they ended up getting married. I believe they were married. And then he had an affair. And that was like that was In Touch Weekly broke that story. And that was like one of the biggest bestsellers for In Touch Weekly ever. And that story dominated the headlines for like months. So if this, you know, now it's like people hear about affairs and it's like people like don't even flinch. But back then, these things were really scandalous. So that would have been absolutely devastating for their brand. And they knew that.
I'm telling you, like, the sources that I have, like, just even let's talk about the alleged lawsuits that Jay-Z has settled, like, under Roc Nation for sexual harassment, sexual assault, for the is it 4040 Club or 44 Club?
Oh, the nightclub.
The nightclub. There was alleged lawsuits that he settled there for alleged R-ing women and stuff, and even like the allegations surrounding Foxy Brown. You know, like, I think I don't know what his game plan is going to be when they come to collect, because they're coming to collect. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Beyonce is leveraged, because she is right now the moneymaker, her and Taylor Swift. They're making the most money in the music industry. No one is making money like them. I don't know if that gives him kind of an umbrella or a shell if he stays connected to that. I was told that this particular album, it wasn't even supposed to be named Cowboy Carter. This was a last minute decision. This was supposed to be her finally stating on record that her and Jay-Z are not together. Who buys? Liz, come on now. You're a journalist. I'm a news personality, but I talk to people every day that deal in Hollywood. When they bought that second house in LA, after owning a house that's over $100 million, you and Beyonce together are only worth $1 billion together, right? And then you go and buy another home for $200 million that's like 40 minutes away. Why would you have two houses that are worth that much?
Right.
That's almost half of your net worth.
Right.
In the same city. I can understand you owning a house in New Orleans or New York, but in the same city 40 minutes away. You remember when they announced that they bought that second house?
No. When was it?
It was, hold on for a second. Hold on, I'll tell you exactly when it was. I think it was like 2 years ago. So, and it said Jay-Z and Beyonce buy second home, but they never sold the first one. The first one is almost, I want to say $175 million. And at this time, they weren't even worth close to $600 million together. So you go and buy a house that's half your net worth, and then you go buy another house that's down the street 40 minutes away that's worth $200 million. That's just as gorgeous, just as big as the first one. That, to me, plain as day, that is a separation.
I mean, sometimes celebrity couples will get a place 40 minutes away that's in Malibu on the ocean. So that's like, you know, their beach home that's 30 minutes away.
And this is, and look,
when it's
and this is how they covered it as a Malibu beach home. But the price tag.
Let me stop you right now because you got to take a look at these waves I got, baby, waving at you. Ah, yes. Ain't that cute? Shout out to Honey Beauty. The only products that I use that actually moisturize my hair from root to tip. And as you can see, because my hair is so short, you can see the root and the tip. I love that it doesn't have any cancer-causing chemicals, no preservatives. And so stop what you're doing. Hit the link below in the description box as well as in the comment section and Google Honey Beauty right now so that you can start to love on your hair as I'm loving on these waves right now that's waving bye-bye to y'all. Look at these. Look at these. Look at these.
All right, winos, after months of planning and negotiating, I am excited to announce that shoptkdeals.com is now extended to you. If you are a creator like myself, or maybe you're just a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you're just someone that just wants to make passive income as well as main income, shoptkdeals.com now offers that invitation to you. So which means you can become an affiliate partner and make anywhere from 30 to 40% on each sale that you make on shoptkdeals.com, okay? And so listen, I'm excited to work with you guys. I'm excited to train you guys. Not only will I be training you, we'll be hosting webinars, sales calls, and all that to make sure that we're all successful and we keep all of these brands happy. So I want you guys to stop what you're doing now. Go on over to the website, shoptkdeals.com, hit join my sales team, and I will see you guys on our sales call, okay?
Because they went to the parties, I guess.
Yeah, and
30,000 square feet, 200 million. And their other house that's 40 minutes away is 200 million.
yeah.
That to me is not vacation house. You don't buy a vacation house that's worth more than your
No, it is bizarre.
regular estate.
And TMZ's the absolute worst.
I know they're the absolute worst, but I'm just like, when I saw that, I was just like,
assume everything that they post is directly coming
It's
from their
fucking
publicist or like
yeah.
Jay-Z himself. It just forget. Like,
don't even get me started with Harvey Weinstein, because I mean not Harvey Weinstein, but
Harvey Levin.
Harvey Levin.
Oh, don't get
You
me started.
know, it's Hollywood. He's a gay man. Ain't no telling what parties he's been to, allegedly. Let's not get into that, okay? But yeah, it just makes you wonder, like, okay, what are you feeding? And when you hear 16 carriages, she is directly stating that her entire life, she recorded this album years ago, but her entire life, summers, her whole life has been taken away from her. Mm-hmm. She wants freedom. And now Jay-Z is all of a sudden the name of the album is Cowboy Carter. And he's traveling, when I tell
what
you,
a narcissist.
everywhere with her. She stopped posting pictures of her anniversary years ago.
She's the next slave princess. She's like Britney. She's trapped. She probably can't get out, and she knows it. And she knows that if she tries to get out, they'll do to her what they did to Britney Spears. Because any musician with that level of fame and power, they will not let you go.
It's not working. He ain't really got no artists under Rock Nation. What does he own? Like, think about it. Like, when you look at Jay-Z's, okay, the Ace of Spades champagne. What else does Jay-Z own? He don't own no ball team.
Right.
Like, they were trying to say that he owned a ball team. No. Like, that stuff, that's all. He's like, you know how you buy shares into something? You buy shares into it. But I'm talking about true, like, money. Like, he is on Beyonce's ass, like, everywhere that she goes. And yes, my husband follows me too, but this is together. We're together.
You're a team.
We're a team. But that, I'm like, he ain't worked in years. Like, she is slaving. How do you just get off tour and you're about to announce another tour? And then he's on was it the Grammys? On the stage now, all of a sudden trying to take up for, like, this young lady has worked hard and she still hasn't been given album of the year. How do you have the most Grammys? Yes, how does she have the most Grammys? Why do you need this album of the year?
Right.
Why is it so important?
Right.
So now you want to come for Taylor Swift's spot and enter country. I want to see how these ticket sales are going to go. I really do.
You know, you asked, what does Jay-Z own? Well, it sounds like people.
That part.
You know?
It's true, though. But I'm just like, what does... Beyonce is clearly her own artist.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she have a direct deal with Live Nation?
He's not going to let her go. There's no way. He could absolutely hate her and he still would not let her go. Like I said earlier in the show, these people, all they care about is money and fame. specifically the handlers. There are a lot of people in Hollywood that are just pure victims, and they're slaves, and they can't get out of it even though they want to.
She went from her daddy. She went from her daddy to Jay-Z doing the same thing that her dad did to her mother, and Jay-Z is doing to her.
Yeah. Yeah. And so many celebrities have been through it.
And you know what? Matthew never speaks on Jay-Z. Ever. He talks about everybody else, but he never says anything about Jay-Z.
Well, money talks, right? And money keeps a lot of people quiet as well. You know?
Yeah. Diddy. And I don't want to spend too much time on this real quick.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about your legal issues and shit, because they came after you hard.
Yeah.
Like, they're coming after me. Kevin Hart's whole empire is coming after me. They're mad. I have a direct personal assistant on record stating the very things that was speculation in the news, saying, I was there, I saw it, here it go. That's who we gave it to. Boom, boom, boom. Let's talk about Diddy. Now, what were some of the things that you, I guess, came across as your time as a journalist working for these publications about Diddy? Like, anything?
Yeah. I never heard back then that I never heard any allegations against him that he, was involved in trafficking or sexual abuse. I mean, I did hear a lot of rumors about not just him, but other musicians potentially being gay. But in terms of, potentially running a trafficking ring for potentially the purposes of blackmail, I definitely never heard that when I was in the business.
So do you think this is something that's new? Like maybe it kind of evolved over time?
Yeah. Well, so if you look at Jeffrey Epstein, I believe his operation started in the late 90s. And when I say his operation, I'm not just talking about the child sex trafficking. I'm talking about the blackmail operation that he was running for intelligence agencies like the CIA and Mossad.
Oh.
So, and what he was doing is basically sounds like what Diddy allegedly is doing as well. I mean, very similar.
And so you believe that the Department of Homeland Security went and raided his houses because they were going to extract shit?
Well,
in order for it to not be found?
Well,
like when they heard there was cameras all over them houses, go get them motherfuckers.
There's a lot of people that, I get it. A lot of people are really frustrated, like me more than anyone else, because I focus on exposing elite rings, right? There's a lot of people super frustrated, and they'll say things like, when are we gonna get the Epstein list? And like we'll never see it. And we had Jeffrey Epstein. He was arrested and then committed, and then Ghislaine Maxwell as well, and that's it. But we know that their ring was massive, so there should be dozens, if not hundreds, maybe thousands of co-conspirators and clients. And people, think that he was just kind of used as the fall guy, and she was the fall girl, and everyone else is protected. And, rogue law enforcement, intelligence, FBI, Homeland Security, you name it, is protecting all the other people in the ring. I don't believe that. I'm more optimistic. I think that there are definitely really bad elements in the three-letter agencies, in law enforcement. I know that for a fact because I've been the target of a lot of their bullshit, right? But I also know that there's really good people in positions of great power that are working behind the scenes to take down these pedophiles and to break up these rings. So I am very optimistic that this isn't just, wag the dog or, let's have Diddy be the fall guy, or let's pretend like we're raiding his home and we're not really going to do. I don't believe that.
You think that
and maybe there are bad people in the deep state, the cabal, law enforcement, whatever, that are trying to make that happen, but I don't think they're going to succeed. I think that the good guys are going to outsmart them, and we're going to see we're going to see this thing unfold and play out over the next few years. But going back to your original question, I'm comparing Epstein's ring to Diddy's because they have very similar
said that too.
markers, right?
He's the black Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. There's a song like
the
Jimmy
same.
Levy. Like Jimmy Levy's did a song on that like Epstein. But down to cameras in the toilet. Jeffrey Epstein had cameras in his toilet. So did Diddy, allegedly. From what I've read in my research, he did too. And I mean, think about that level of surveillance. And by the way, like creepiness. Like how creepy is it that there's a camera in the toilet? That's disgusting. So Epstein's ring started in the late 90s, I'd say, because when you go through the court transcripts and the depositions from, victims and witnesses and whatnot, he never had any of the girls over that were trafficked until Ghislaine came into the picture. And who was Ghislaine's father? Her father was Robert Maxwell, who was a Mossad super spy. So
talked about that,
So who was really running the show? Was it Jeffrey or was it Ghislaine? I'm putting my money on Ghislaine. Right.
It was Ghislaine. Her father, she did the same thing for her father.
Right. So
yeah.
So this is in the late 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there is another woman that barely anyone in the mainstream media has talked about. Her name is Rachel Chandler. Now she is allegedly another Ghislaine Maxwell, except worse for Jeffrey Epstein. She allegedly trafficked the younger victims, the children, for Jeffrey Epstein. This woman's evil, and she's dark. And she was running a modeling agency that many believe, including myself, that was just a front for child sex trafficking and or human trafficking. And that all of the models, which if you look at the model pictures from the website, they all look malnourished. I mean, they all look like trafficking victims. Like these people they do not look well at all. So this started coming out in, I think it was 2018, about Rachel Chandler. And a lot of people were buzzing about her, and a lot of people were exposing her connections to Epstein and Bill Clinton and the ring and whatnot. And she just disappeared. You know, like she didn't deny anything. She didn't sue anyone. She just like disappeared. She has been photographed in public forever. Now she was very close with all the top celebrities. And there's...
When you say top, how top we talking?
Diddy.
Oh, shit.
So she was photographed with Diddy when she was still 14. So I believe that Diddy and his alleged sex trafficking ring could have been a part of Jeffrey Epstein's ring, because there's connections there.
Listen, I've said it. My last show on Diddy, he is the black Jeffrey Epstein, comparing the cases, the allegations. Mm-hmm. Even I am the only publication that has a sex worker of Diddy's, a male escort, on record stating the things that Diddy made him do, paid him to do.
When are your sources saying that a lot of this nefarious alleged sex trafficking started taking place? Because what could have happened...
He said he's been on Diddy's payroll for about 10 years.
Okay. Because what could have... I'm just theorizing here for all the fake news places they're going to write hit pieces. But I don't care. I'm used to it.
Me too.
So here's
then they come back and be like, when I put out that Wendy Williams had dementia... her whole team was like, she's lying, she's good. Now in a documentary, she has dementia. I was the only publication that put out that Wendy had dementia. Years before it came out. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, they're like, she calling herself Wendy Hunter. She don't know where she at. That takes years to develop. It doesn't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, fake news. We'll say it's fake. All of it's fake.
It is fake.
Okay, keep your lawsuits away. All of it's fake. Let's go. Let's go ahead and go.
So I research elite rings for a living.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
I've seen your
there's
research.
all different kinds of rings, right? So there's rings with really, really high profile people, like some of the most powerful people in the world. And then there's smaller rings with elite people, but we're not talking billionaires and just maybe millionaires, right? So, and you know, they're regional and like they have their codes and, you know, their ways of transporting people and whatever. But I do wonder if, because there's connections between Diddy and that circle with Jeffrey Epstein's circle, I wonder if in 2006, that's when they first raided Epstein's home, because he was arrested twice, right? He was arrested, you know, for sex trafficking and or, you know, like sexual acts with a minor. He was given a slap on the wrist. His house was raided in 2006. I think that he was charged then too. And then, he was thrown in jail for a year and a half, but it was a very cushy deal. But I'm wondering if potentially they moved his operation into the hands of someone else, like Diddy. I mean, I'm just theorizing
on Star
here.
Island.
I'm just theorizing here, but like there was a spotlight on him, you know, after the first time he got arrested. So maybe people, because these, let's be honest here, these rings, they're sophisticated. Cameras in toilets. These are not, some of these rings are very sophisticated.
So is this the sophistication level? Is it to blackmail people in powerful positions? Is that what it's for? So did he host these type of parties in order to get leverage over these people to stay rich?
Yes.
Because it's like, how do you continue to take out, who takes out 8 mortgages?
Blackmail rules the day, you know, and this has been going on forever. I mean, you have all these different intelligence agencies from all over the world, and they're all running blackmail operations, and they all, you know, their agents come here and our agents go there, and you know, they recruit assets and from people and traffickers and pedophiles to run blackmail operations. That's the best way to control someone, is through blackmail.
And so it's not that Diddy, I mean, because even though I did hear from the second, I mean, Diddy is pretty brutal. I mean, the drugs, he would go in what they call like ketamine holes or K holes, allegedly, from all the drugs that he was doing and stuff. But you ask yourself, and like, just to hear you speak, it's like all the stuff that I'm getting like over the years from sources, like Diddy taking out 8 mortgages on 2 houses. Now, you know, you've owned a house, right? How many mortgages they let you take out? Probably no more than what? 1 or 2?
Yeah.
8?
Yeah.
And they just keep giving you money? Like they just push the loan through knowing that you do not have the money to pay for these houses. And so, and you wonder, like, because all the royalties like that he had stole from all of his artists, that he had gave back to his artists and put his artists on NDAs, saying that they couldn't like do interviews and stuff or pieces on him. Like they had dried up. So Diddy was broke. De Leon, I mean, he wasn't the type of money that De Leon or the company that was marketing De Leon and distributing De Leon, as well as Ciroc, they weren't giving him that type of money. Like he was essentially broke, living off of loans. And how would you go and continue to get loans and continue to, and how are you getting this money to host these parties? What is the reason for hosting these parties? And it makes you think it's for leverage.
Well, yeah, it's always for leverage. You know, are you familiar with the House of Hammer?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I couldn't get through all of it.
Okay, but you know, basically it's about Armie Hammer, who's just another like, predator type that basically was very sexually abusive with the girls that he was dating, physically abusive as well. And
it's like Diddy. It's the same thing. Like,
and he was also telling them that he was a cannibal and he wanted to eat them.
Yeah,
like literally, he was looking for a surgeon to remove one of the girls he was dating. He was looking for a surgeon that would remove one of her ribs so he could barbecue it and eat it.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I got that far, but
yeah, I mean,
but you know what? It makes me think, because I was just reading. I cannot remember this author's name, but he just had a New York Times bestseller on cannibalism. Like how popular. Let me read it. Let me pull it up, because I was going to order the book, because I'm like, why would he be writing about?
Because they're trying to normalize this stuff now.
Yes, they're trying to normalize it, cannibalism, and how popular it is, and how I'm like, so who is finding people to eat?
Well, Chrissy Teigen would
you
be
see what
thrilled.
I'm saying?
So, but getting back to Armie Hammer, his
Bill Shutt.
Do you have the name of the book?
Cannibalism.
Just Cannibalism?
By Bill. A Perfectly Natural History. A perfectly natural history. You know how they have all these fad diets and shit? He's trying to introduce cannibalism as a fad. Like, you can eat keto, you can get superpower.
Well, it's not just him. There's this is the cabal. You know, they're trying to normalize pedophilia. They've been trying to normalize cannibalism. Like they've been doing this for years. If you're paying attention, if you read articles about cannibalism and pedophilia over the past 10 years, you'll see that they're trying to normalize all this stuff. But back to Army, like speaking cannibals, back to the cannibal Army Hammer. His grandfather, it was either his great grandfather or his grandfather, was a really powerful oil guy, like just like filthy rich back in the day. His name was Arm & Hammer, right? Well, guess what he was running? Another blackmail operation. He was best friends with members of the royal family and presidents and just some of the most powerful people in the world. And he would secretly record all of them. And he was running surveillance on all these people. So and there was that whole family is a mess. Like they were in a dark occult type stuff as well. And there's, child sexual abuse, all kinds of abuse.
Now. Everybody in the family got cancer.
Right? And I know, right? But he was, and I remember when I was watching that, I'm like, wow. So there's all these mini Epstein type rings where there's all these powerful people that are running surveillance operations. And let me tell you, most of them aren't doing them alone. Most of them are working for an intelligence agency. The question is who? Is it Mossad? Is it the CIA? Is it MI6? Who are they working for? That's the bigger question. But most of these people aren't doing this on their own. And they're not smart enough and or sophisticated enough to do this stuff on their own. What was happening to Britney Spears? Go back to Lou Taylor, and who's tied to Diddy. And by the way, the woman that worked under Lou Taylor, Robin Greenhill, she was the one, according to court records, that was paying Diddy's sex workers for him because he's one of their clients, right? Now, who do they work with? They worked with, or they still do, I believe, a firm called Black Box Security. Well, who founded it? A guy that's former Israeli intelligence, Eden Yemeni. What did he do to Britney Spears? He ran illegal surveillance on Britney in her bathroom, in her bedroom. This person was supposed to be protecting her. They were supposed to be her security. And this was even in the New York Times. This is not fake. They can't say fake news on this because even the New York Times acknowledged it. It was actually a good story. But they were running surveillance on Britney. Do you see the dots connecting here? And so I'm telling you, most people that have their houses, bugged like that. I mean, Playboy. Hello. Do you think Hugh Hefner was just some pervy dude that had a popular magazine?
He had intelligence on some of the biggest names.
Right, but he was secretly recording. He was doing the same thing. He was secretly recording all these powerful people, just like Diddy, just like Epstein, just like Arm & Hammer. You think he was acting alone?
Nah.
Or was he working in conjunction with possibly, I don't know, the CIA or another intelligence agency? This has been going on for years. It's just, it seemed very far-fetched to most people just a few years ago.
And now it's more. It's very much a reality.
Right now. It is. And I think that I think there's going to be a lot more exposure on everyone that was involved in this ring and or Epstein's ring. And maybe Diddy's ring is a part of that ring. There's definitely connections. I found connections. But I think there's going to be a lot more exposure this year that's going to come out about this ring and other people and who was involved and what was really going on. And it's dark and it's messed up. And it's going to really freak people out, but it's time that people face this.
And you just ask yourself, why is almost every big name attached to some massive bullshit? It's and I was when I was talking to Ashley Massey, Corey and Kyle's mom, she was like, Black Hollywood is so small. Mm-hmm. You can name on two hands how many Black celebrities there are.
Right.
Now, white Hollywood is extensive, But as far as Black Hollywood, so when you hear, it's like, it could seem like the people that Bill Cosby, Diddy, Jay-Z, I mean, the list goes on. All of them are connected or interconnected somehow with this, because they all run in the same circles. And then when you see Jay-Z canceling events that he's had religiously for years, you know, and Diddy is not there. Him and Diddy were like this. Kanye, what happened to him and Kanye? Like, what is going on? It seems like the only one that's playing by the rules is Jay-Z thus far. And it's because he has something he has something that's like worth so much that's leverage. It's Beyonce.
Right.
You have Beyonce.
It probably is that. Yeah. That's a very good point.
And so I know, and you know, we've been here 3 hours, right? And I hate to keep you this long, but Liz, I'm like, if I get you in, I got to get you in, because they don't tell her when you're coming back. What are some of the things that you've gone through exposing this level of information over the years? Because I see your videos, they try to label you as crazy.
Yeah. They
try to label you as some lunatic conspiracy theorist that's not a real journalist. I'm sitting here with you today. You're barely even drinking. It's not like you're saying, oh, I know that this has happened. This is like, you're like, there's definitely a correlation between these two things.
Yeah.
You're not stating it as a fact. Like, you're speaking how trained journalists speak. Like, you can't say for a fact because you're never there. However, just putting this together, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it is a duck.
It's called common sense.
Yes, you have gotten so much backlash over the years. They have banned you almost from social media.
Yeah, they've banned me almost everywhere. I mean, name a platform I've been banned. Twitter, I was banned on Twitter for 5 years.
How are you banned on Twitter?
I'm
when Twitter, Elon let you back in.
Elon let me back. Thanks, spaceman. Elon let me back in, but they banned me in 2018, and so I was banned for 5 years. So, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. I never even used Venmo. Like, really, ever never asked people to donate to me on Venmo.
That's a cash.
One day I just wake up and I'm banned from Venmo. I'm like, what did I do? Like, I don't even use it. Like, banned from Venmo, banned from PayPal. Like any business I set up, they shut it down. I had stores on Shopify, stores on Etsy, like to the point where they wouldn't even let me sell a t-shirt that read Child Lives Matter. So they've buy me a coffee. I mean, Instagram, name a platform. I have been banned from that. I think I'm one of the most banned people in the country. I'm not even kidding.
I thought Alex Jones had you beat, though.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't have a nice studio like he does. He's definitely living a much larger than I am. And let me tell you, if they don't want you to live large, they will make sure you do not live large, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
You know? And so yeah, I've been banned everywhere. And, you know, when I first started exposing elite rings and Pizzagate in 2016, that's when the hit pieces started. Actually, it was before I started covering Pizzagate. There was one story that I did in 2016 where I went too deep. And this is when I was working for the New York Observer. So in late 2015, 2016, there was a time period for a few years where I wrote my novel, Malice. So a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about, it's in my novel, but it's fiction inspired by true events. So if people want to check it out, it's on Amazon.
No, we're going to link all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about exposing, you know, child sex trafficking is because I was a victim of a sexual assault.
Oh, wow.
Where I almost died.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah. And it was horrible. And, you know, it was someone I was in what I thought was, you know, a loving and, you know, committed relationship, and it didn't turn out to be that. And it was an abusive relationship. And I was abused in multiple ways, including sexually. And long story short, the sexual assault that was committed against me, I almost died from what happened to me, long story short. So I wasn't able to work for years, and it was rough. So during that time period, I worked on my book and I wrote my novel, and I started, you know, picking up the pieces. But after that happened to me, and after I figured out like everything that happened to me, that's when I decided to become an advocate, you know, for sex crime victims. And so I started, you know, doing, you know, charity work and whatnot. for victims and become an advocate. And fast forward to 2015, 2016, the election's getting really exciting. And so I wanted to get back into reporting, but not Hollywood, not gossip. I was so over all that stuff. I wanted to do like investigative pieces and cover politics and, and so I started doing that, and I was working for Town Hall and the New York Observer, and my stories were going viral. I mean, they would get millions of views. They'd be on the front page of Drudge, which was like the main hub where everyone went to get their political news. I was becoming a star in that field. And then I did an investigative piece exposing how Hillary Clinton's campaign was stealing money from her poor donors. So they were running this money fraud scheme on her campaign that involved a bunch of the big banks, and I had people on the record. I had receipts. I had everything to prove it was true. And I worked on this story for a very long time. And it was a very explosive story. So the story comes out, it goes crazy viral, and you have a lot of really high profile people sharing the story. And at first I was really excited. I'm like, oh, this is great. My story is doing so well. And then I was like, ooh, it is about Hillary Clinton. It's doing a little bit too well. And then I started getting nervous. I had a really bad feeling, and I'm like, they're going to start messing with me. Like I poked the bear too much. And the next thing I know, my dog was poisoned. And he went to anaphylactic shock, and he almost died. And I was able to get him to the animal hospital in enough time where he didn't die. But the Clintons have a track record for killing pets. They've done it before to people that have blown the whistle on them. It's nothing new for them. So I was very worried when the story started getting so big about my dogs. I had a feeling that they would either come after me or my dog. And that's exactly what happened. My dog survived, but that was the first really threatening thing that happened to me. And I know how they operate. I know that was meant to be, here's your warning shot, like shut up, or we're going to mess with you worse. And, my response was, go yourself. I'm not going to stop. God put me on this planet to be a journalist. I'm not going to stop doing what I do best or be bullied by a bunch of demons that are trafficking kids. So I continued to do the work that I did. And then I read the Podesta emails and read all the evidence that they were involved in child sex trafficking. And I started covering that.
The Clintons?
Yes.
Damn.
Oh, the Clinton Foundation? That's just a front for child sex trafficking. Yeah, they actually were cited for crimes. The foundation, Hillary Clinton and Foundation, they were cited in the Inspector General's report in 2018 on page 294 for crimes against children, among other things. But the mainstream media won't talk about that, will they? This is the official Inspector General's report that came out in 2018.
Black people were more entertaining.
What'd you say?
Black people are more entertaining, so Diddy's more entertaining right now.
I know. Anyways, we don't have to get into that. But anyways,
go ahead.
But you understand that
yeah. People
like Hillary Clinton, like all these politicians, they hang out with celebrities, actors, musicians. A lot of them, they're all in bed together. They're all on the same side. So you mess with one of them, you kind of mess with all of them. A lot of them are involved in the same rings. Jeffrey Epstein's ring, let me tell you, it's big. There's going to be names that come out. There were clients and or co-conspirators in his ring that will shock you. And when I say you, I mean you cover this stuff, so I doubt much shocks you, but I guarantee when the full truth comes out about Epstein's ring, there will be some names on that list that you'll be like, whoa, I'm shocked to hear that. So I've, they've just basically deplatformed me. They've made my life hell. They try to my dog. They harass me constantly. My stuff's constantly getting hacked. They literally would pay people to spy on me, and they will compromise people working for me, like doctors, lawyers, you name it. Anything they can do to make my life hell, they do it. And they try to make it impossible for me to, do the work that I do and make a living for myself. That's why they had to cancel me from PayPal and Venmo, and then take me off Instagram and YouTube, because, if I have no platform to talk about my reporting, then how am I going to make money, right? Because I'm independent. So they've done that to me for years now, but I'm still standing. I'm still here. I'm still working. And as long as I feel that God wants me to continue doing this work, I'm going to do it, and a lot of the things that I've been reporting since 2016, 2017 that I was called crazy for are being proven to be true. So who's the crazy one now? Is the girl that was telling the truth about people doing crazy things, including to children and women? Or was it Liz Crokin?
Liz. Cheers.
Cheers, girls. This has been so much fun.
I know. Like, Liz, I was so excited to have you. Shout out to Angela Staton for linking us
the
up.
best.
I know you guys are really close, and that's my dog. That's Angela's my dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, when I tell you, you just snatched my wig, and I don't even wear a wig. Like, at all. Like, I'm just floored, because you know what? Like, I don't go as deep as you go. Mm-hmm. But I go pretty deep, and when I tell you the amount of power they have put towards me to try to take me down.
Oh, I can't imagine. I mean, you're speaking truth. You're a woman and you're Black.
But I'm a liar. Like, I'm just like, like I was sued, and it's mind-boggling to me that people will even say, well, the court said you were lying. And it's like, first of all, how many, let's just say, Black people in general have been tried before a court and have been found guilty or liable of things, right? And only for years later for it to be true, And so
did they put you through a trial?
Oh my God, yes. Oh yes. And you would think, like, I've never been in trouble with the law. I've been doing clean work. I stand on side of the truth. And I do not like when I tell you the over sexualization of images that are fed to kids. And I talk a lot about that. I talk a lot about that shit. When they have to protect vested interests, like, I'm just like, I stood no chance when you're up against a major record label who's funding a particular artist, and she has unlimited money to do what she wants. She's, her lawyers are getting meetings with the judge, which are called ex parte conversations. Well, the whole thing is just like, nothing in a million years, because of the receipts that I had, would have ever thought that I would have lost the way that I did. And when I tell you, they thought that I was going to, like, exit social media.
But see,
No.
Here's the thing: when they can't get you to shut up,
they go after your pockets.
Yes. And they will use lawfare tactics to do that. Yeah. Because that's one of their favorite cards, right? So with my situation, I've had people like John Legend and Chrissy Teigen like threaten to sue me, and they knew they never would, because everything I said about them was true, and they didn't want to
remind us what you said about them, John.
Well, what I said about Chrissy initially was really nothing. She was on a plane that turned around in 2017 and made all these videos talking about how the plane was turned around like midair from like California. I think it was going to Japan.
I remember that shit. Yeah.
Right. But then she was talking about, they let everybody go except for me and John. And at that time, I knew that there was people being taken down behind the scenes.
I remember you calling her ass out about that shit.
Yeah, but all I said was, I wasn't really paying attention to her. But then when her plane got turned around and I knew that were operations going on behind the scenes, I was like, I wonder if, they're busting her, whatever. And I'm like, well, let me look into her. And then it's like, I find all this pedophilia shit. She'd been promoting pedophilia for years, like in tweets, just openly like promoting pedophilia in tweets. Like,
I remember she got canceled for a lot of that shit too.
Yeah. And she had all the symbolism, because I know all the symbolism, all the codes, like, this is what I do. So I know all of it. She has it all over her pages. And so I did one tweet and I said, Chrissy Teigen posted, A, B, C, and D. and I posted 4 pictures because I know people that like follow me would know what I'm talking about. I didn't say you're a or anything like that. And but at this point I was starting to get a decent
it's
following.
Looking very pedophilic. Okay.
Yeah, I just said she just posted A, B, C, and D, and whatever. And next thing I know, she did a tweet basically saying, "I'm pretty sure this person's saying I'm a like she's one of those crazy rant."
A hit dog hollered.
Well, and it was all coordinated too, because like Chelsea Clinton, and then literally like no joke, the Church of Satan and Hooters, and then Jack Dorsey, they all chimed in at the same time. I think it was New Year's Day in 2018. So it was like, and I'm like, oh, this is a coordinated attack because they can't figure out how to shut me up. So they need someone like her to just be like, to like make me look crazy. And so anyway, so she managed to get, my verified blue check mark taken away. And then like, I don't know, 8 months later, 9 months later, my Twitter was just completely taken down. But, at the time, John Legend's like tweeting, oh, like, we're going to sue you. And like and then the Today Show's covering this. And they're one of the ones that called me like a so-called journalist or self-described journalist, the Today Show. I'm like, no, like the simple fact that you don't know that I'm a real journalist with a journalism degree means you're a so-called self-described journalist, right? So that was a coordinated attack that they did against me because my background is so solid, they can't have someone with such a solid background exposing the leap rings. Forget it. And so they had to
only for your shit to come true.
So I know, right? So they had to launch this like attack. They used Chrissy Teigen as an asset, that it was like it was all stupid, and they were threatening to sue me. And I knew they weren't, so I doubled down. And I'm like, oh. And then all these researchers found all of her tweets, so like it had the reverse effect that they were hoping for. And then eventually she ended up having to delete 60,000 tweets. But the story I'm getting to is they never sued me, but a year later or so, like I was taking a surf lesson at the Hyatt Hotel, and I lost my fingers, my fingertips. Okay. And
girl, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, most people don't notice. So I lost my fingers, and long story short, the reason why I lost my fingers is because it's very simple. I signed a contract when I took the lesson, and I was supposed to be provided, this was in writing, a surfboard with a leash, because I was taking a class, right? I was given a surfboard without a leash, which never happens. And I had taken surf lessons before, and I was always given a leash. And so when I got my surfboard and saw there was no leash, I asked my instructor, like, why doesn't it have a leash? Like, did something happen? And he was like, yeah. Like, was there, like, did something bad? Did they deem, like, leashes are no longer safe? Like, did something weird happen? He's like, yeah, something like that. So, like, he's an instructor. Of course, I believed him. Well, they gave me a surfboard without the leash, and a surfboard has a board string on it that's supposed to connect to the leash, but it serves no purpose if there's no leash, if we're not using a leash.
Because you use it so that you won't lose the board.
So they gave me the surfboard without a leash, and I think that the guy just lied, and he was like, yeah, we're no longer using leashes when they really were, because it was in the contract. I should have had a leash, whatever. So because I didn't have a leash, my fingers got caught on the board string, and they severed the tops of my fingers. This is
one slice,
just like that. And I type for a living. I'm a writer, and I can't type now. I couldn't type for 2 years. So it was. I'm giving you the short version, but I had so many lawyers like begging me, can I be a lawyer? It's like such a clean cut personal injury case. Like, let's just take an easy settlement. It's the Hyatt Hotel. It's worth billions of dollars. They wouldn't give me a penny. And I'm like, of course. And my lawyer's like, this is so weird. Like, I don't know. This is the strongest case I've ever had in 40 years. And like, I don't understand why they're not settling. They ended up spending probably at least $2 million fighting me in court when I was asking for like less than $500,000, much less than $500,000 to cover prosthetics. I had to get surgery. I was in the hospital. I couldn't type for over 2 years. Like, they spent like they spent 8 times the amount of money to fight me in court. And my lawyer's like, I don't understand why this is happening. And I was like, someone's got to them. But I'm like, God, like, this is like the Hyatt. And then a year later, after I got in my surf accident, and like, the demand that I was asking them originally was like, a lot of lawyers were like, that would have been like ridiculous for you to take such a low amount of money or small amount of money, whatever. Anyways, so they refused to settle, and a year later, after I got in the accident, it comes out in the news that the chairman of the Hyatt Hotel allegedly was a client and or co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein's ring, and allegedly raped Virginia Giuffre. And I'm like, now I know why they won't settle with me. They know who I am, and they will happily pay millions and millions and millions of dollars to like not give me a penny and keep me bogged down in court. And that's what they did for 7 years. And they rigged the whole trial. They tampered with evidence. They all lied under oath. Evidence went missing. I think they paid off a juror. The guy that swayed the whole jury happened to be a Fed. What are the odds of that? Go on and on and on. So that's what they do.
Liz, I would hate to give you the research on my case. You'll be like, hold up. Well, wait a minute. I'm telling you. I was just like, one day, everything always comes to the light. So I don't have to worry about it. I don't spend my energy trying to prove anything. I'm just like, let me just focus on my work, focus on my reputation, making sure that I'm as factual as I can be.
Yeah.
And when we're wrong, we say that we're wrong.
Yeah.
And we'll just take it from there. And, it's amazing how karma has just flipped the script with this particular person. And it's like, oh, but I was sued for saying the very same things that the entire world is saying about you right now.
Yeah.
You can't sue the world.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm quiet because I choose to be, but it's like, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to say, but I do understand how. I'm like, why are entertainment lawyers spearheading a defamation case?
Mm-hmm.
We're the First Amendment. As a journalist, we have First Amendment, not entertainment lawyers.
Right.
Who are you working for?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you, Liz.
You know what? The fact, though, that you managed to, get through this, and their goal was to silence you, right?
Still is. I'm in a lawsuit with Kevin Hart right now.
All right, well, tell them they can go themselves.
I do.
Don't back down. Because you have an amazing voice. Everyone loves you. You're so popular.
Yes.
And
thank you.
They hate that. And you tell truth. That's what they hate the most. You tell too much truth.
I'm telling you.
But you have God on your side. Like, to me, truth is God. Like, that's what God means to me, is truth. So
I tell everybody that I work for the light.
So they can
work for the light.
They can throw all these slings and arrows at you, but at the end of the day, you're gonna prevail. Just don't let them get to you.
Nah.
Don't let them get to you, and just take it as a badge of honor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because if you weren't doing fantastic work, trust me, they wouldn't be messing with you. That means the fact that they're coming at you this hard means that you're powerful and you're effective.
And I think thank you so much. And I think it bothers them that, they'll have, when I tell you, even with the Kevin Hart case, he has had so many people call me on behalf of him, trying to get me on record to state a number. Like, I'm like, to state a number. He claims that I extorted him. That's his lawsuit. Tasha tried to extort me, said she wouldn't go forward with a story if I paid her.
Right.
Really? Me? Baby, I get paid to post stories, not keep them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he ends up filing a lawsuit when his lawyers cannot get me on the phone. When I tell you, he wanted to talk to me. No. There's nothing to talk about. If you want to talk to my lawyers. When he couldn't get through to my lawyers, was like, well, she don't want us to talk on her behalf, so now you go file a lawsuit. When I tell you the legal team that we had to go get is the legal team that represents the New York Post, watch me, like Ballard Spar. It's a huge law. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. And so luckily, all the tactics that he's tried has been thrown out. Yeah. We got this last little bit of piece that we're working on, but it's like they stop at nothing. Like he has people lying under oath.
Oh, yeah.
Have submitted affidavits stating that they talk to my team. Yeah. What?
Oh, yeah. Like they had probably at least a dozen people under oath at my trial. That's normal for them. Yeah. It's just like,
I cannot believe, and I'm looking at the people and I'm like, okay, so I got their names and I'm like, all right, so you done lied under oath for Kevin. Mm-hmm. It's going to come a day.
Which is a felony, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's going to come a day. Because if you're lying like that for him under oath, ain't no telling what else you're lying.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
For him about. Mm-hmm. What is he really trying to protect? Exactly. Because the stuff that I've talked about has been public. So what is this really about?
That's a good question.
So Liz, listen, I understand you. I am you. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and dedication and just staying on side of the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not easy out here to do what you do. And when you show me your fingers, I gasped. I was like, wait, what? And I'm thinking she's a journalist. She types, she writes, and that's your right hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They wouldn't even pay for my hospital bills or my prosthetics. The Hyatt Corporation, which is worth billions of dollars. And it was completely their fault. But that's what we're up against. They will come at you any way they possibly can.
Liz,
but God is greater than everything that they throw at us. He
sure is. Cheers to that. And they said Jesus made wine. Look, go ahead, get you some more. If you want some more, child, go ahead, pour you some more. Yes. Tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, email you if they have any questions. Cheers.
Yeah, people can find me at my website lizcrokin.net has
the mic.
Oh,
look, we're fucked up. I'm fucked up. So I'm like, oh shit, the mic. Go ahead.
My website, lizcrokin.net, has all of my work, links to my Substack, my documentary, Slave Princess, Britney Spears, which I was talking about, Out of Shadows. And then you can just follow me on X at Liz Crokin, LIZCROKIN.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun.
Now we gotta go. Bye. We don't get enough liquid D3. We don't get enough vitamin D. And so I personally have to supplement this particular vitamin D that I travel with all the time, and I make sure that I never run out of, is 10,000 IUs, gluten-free, vegetarian, as a vitamin E and vitamin C base, okay? And so it's very highly absorbable. There are some fantastic reviews on shoptkdeals.com of women who claim that they couldn't even lift their arms. And by taking vitamin D3, which helps your body to absorb calcium, and the calcium feeds the bones, they can now raise their arms, they're less pain and things like that. Clips out there about you sometimes do show you a very angry Black woman kind of life.
I am an angry Black woman. I am angry that my sisters are dying at ridiculous rates of heart disease, maternal death. I am stressed. I am angry that I live in a nation that lies to us and has been, and people still aren't sure how to make it make sense.
You've never heard of Candace Owens?
I don't know her.
Your messages are very similar.
I'm a radical leftist.
Do you date?
Who's gonna date me?
There are other people like you that you can date.
Name them.
I'm not a matchmaker.
I have 5 cats and a dog. I love being a cat lady. And the other day I was driving and I had my dog and my 3 cats in the car going to the vet, and I was like, wow, this is the life you chose. I haven't had sex or been kissed in 2 years.
Do you think that has a lot to do with your anger too sometime?
No. I think that's actually very unintellectual for you to ask.
No.
Yes.
Because as Black women, we have to release.
So I don't have a vibrator?
They covered it as a Malibu beach home. But the price tag on it